Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Age of Gods. I log into the reincarnation space in the Gods domain. Chapter 41. Oh my God, is this what you call resurrection? Among the 5,000 Konoha ninjas who were resurrected by the impure world reincarnation, the fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze, who was the leader, murmured. He is now in the state of impure world reincarnation, but it is obviously not an ordinary impure world reincarnation. The sense of reality of the body is very strong, as if it has become another creature. Normal impure world reincarnation, Minato Namikaze thinks that there should be no such effect. No, Minato, this is just a temporary body for you. As long as you have enough military merits, it is not a problem to fully resurrect. Yi Tian's soul transmission resounded in the hearts of every resurrected Konoha ninja. Is that so? On the contrary, I can't disobey your orders now. I just need to fight well in the future. It's easier than being a Hokage. Minato Namikaze made a small joke. Whether Yi Tian said this or not, they all had to fight for Yi Tian, but now there is hope of complete resurrection, and their own fighting spirit is naturally stronger. Then perform well, and the whole army will attack. At Yi Tian's order, Minato Namikaze and other ninjas immediately took action. Tailed Beast Ball. Minato Namikaze burst into golden light, entered the Nine Tails chakra mode and directly fired a tailed beast cannon. Because half of the Nine Tails chakra was sealed, and the Nine Tails chakra could not resist Minato Namikaze in the divine realm, he could control it perfectly and directly hit the opponent. What a terrifying, evil power! The 38 genius demigods including Mubusho were all shocked. Yi Tian's divine realm race was so strong that its single power was comparable to theirs. Because of the strengthening of Hades' divinity, the divine power attached to the tailed beast ball was enough to directly hurt the demigod's body. This attack made their divine realm race ashamed. As a last resort, the 38 demigods had to unite to cast a divine power barrier. Boom! The red gold mushroom cloud exploded, and the light shone on the divine realm. Yi Tian, where did your divine realm race come from? Why are they so strong? What kind of monster did you cultivate? Mu Qinger saw that this destructive power was actually emitted by a divine realm race warrior, and couldn't help complaining. Hee. Yi Tian chuckled and thought, I haven't resurrected Uzumaki Shinkuna this time. That's the real Nine Tails Jinchuriki. However, with the blessing of Hades' divinity, Minato Namikaze's level has also reached S level, about 1-star demigod. Minato Namikaze only had S level comprehensive combat power before his death, and his life level was far behind. The Nine Tails is an S-level creature, but it has no divinity. It has the destructive power of demigod level but is still not as good as demigod. Now combined with Hades' divinity, it can threaten demigods. This King Bomb combination, ordinary demigods can't beat them. Humph, relying on a race in the divine domain, you want to win us, you think too much, Yi Tian. After defending the tailed beast ball, Mubusho hummed indignantly. Although the tailed beast ball with Hades' divinity is very strong, it is impossible to defeat their 38 9-star demigods, but there is a chance to defeat one of them. But they will not be left alone now. Really? Then what about this? Yi Tian smiled slightly. Multiple shadow clone technique, flying thunder god technique, big ball Rasengan. Minato Namikaze used multiple shadow clones, hundreds or thousands of Minato Namikaze, activated Flying Thunder God to teleport to 38 gods' domains, and fired a huge Rasengan with the Nine Tails chakra. Boom 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 boom. Blooming everywhere, in an instant, it caused obvious damage to the gods' domain races among the 38 gods. And the 5,000 Konoha ninjas who were reborn from the impure world reincarnation were not vegetarians. They had long been prepared to cooperate with Minato Namikaze. When Minato Namikaze bombed their gods' domain races, they launched a general attack. Fire style, Fire Dragon technique. Wind style, Big Blast. Water style, Thunder Cloud technique. Water style, Heavy Rain. Lightning style, Lightning 5 Whips. Lightning style, Thunder Roar. Lightning style, Earth Walk. Earth style, Yellow Spring Swamp. Ninjutsu, Thousand Talisman Blast. Boom 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 boom. A series of attacks left the enemy without the command of the gods, and the god realm race was caught off guard and suffered heavy casualties. Mubusho and others were all vomiting blood because of the sudden attack by Minato Namikaze. Because the God Realm race and the buildings of the God Realm were severely damaged, they themselves were not doing well. At this moment, they all wanted to attack directly and kill Minato Namikaze 10,000 times. But Yi Tian stared at them covetously. If they shamelessly attacked Minato Namikaze, then Yi Tian would attack them directly. Yi Tian's personal strength could kill Lin Tianyi and Nangong Yu in seconds, and he could only hit them once at most. They couldn't attack. Fight back with all your strength, and bless the temple with all your divine power. Mu Busho reacted at this time and immediately organized a counterattack. The Temple of the King of the Sacred Tree, where all spirits grow. The Temple of the Blazing Flame, where the flames burn the sky. The Temple of the Thunder God, bring down thunder. Cause a storm, the Temple of the Storm. After the 38 temples burst into divine light, with the advantage of numbers, Mu Busho and his race in the divine realm were no longer one-sided, and launched an effective counterattack, quickly turning the disadvantage into a balance. But as they fought, they discovered another problem. How is it possible that these races in the divine realm are actually unkillable? They're undead race, but the second-level undead race is not that exaggerated. Most of them are at the second level, and there are very few at the third level. Could it be a racial talent? Mu Busho and his friends never thought that these ninjas of Yi Tian were the product of forbidden techniques and divinity. Strictly speaking, in the world of Naruto, the strength of the Chunin and Jonin are both at the second level, and the third level is basically the quasi-cage and cage level. Some cage level can fight against the fourth level S level, such as Minato Namikaze and Obito Uchiha. The tailed beasts are S-class life forms, but they are very weak in the S-class. They only have force and energy. The best of the third level can basically fight against them, and with the sealing technique, they can subdue them repeatedly. The ninjas and tailed beasts resurrected in Yi Tian's divine domain are stronger than they were when they were alive. Unless their divinity contains the power of life and death, yin and yang, they cannot be injured. The genius with this divinity has surrendered and left with Lu Xuan. Otherwise, Yi Tian will kill the enemy who can restrain the reincarnation of the dead as soon as possible when the war starts, because he doesn't want to expose more cards and tactics. No, we will definitely lose if we go on like this. Yi Tian, I didn't expect to force us to this point. Facing the invincible ninja army, coupled with the destruction of Minato Namikaze everywhere, even Minato Namikaze can end this war alone. The situation is already precarious for Mu Busho and others. They never dreamed that they would lose faster after choosing to gang up on them. Not only is there a big gap in personal strength, but the gap in races in the divine domain is also very different. The geniuses who chose to surrender all breathed a sigh of relief. Surrender was indeed a wise choice. On the contrary, they were somewhat gloating over Mu Busho's misfortune. Yi Tian is so outrageous. Lu Xuan, who was always elegant, couldn't help but swear when he saw Yi Tian's exaggerated race in the divine realm. This time, Mu Busho is definitely finished. Even the divine emperor can't save him. A Nandu noble genius sneered. Indeed, but I hope Mu Busho won't break the jar, otherwise there will be some trouble. Lu Xuan said worriedly. At this time, Mu Busho stared at Yi Tian with a crazy look in his eyes, as if he had made up his mind, and roared, "Ha ha ha, Yi Tian, you can't have a good life even if I die." Do I have a grudge against him? Yi Tian could see that the look was jealous and crazy, and it was the kind of jealousy that would never stop. It seemed that there was one more person who must be killed. Ha ha ha, Yi Tian, you won't be able to have an easy life even if I die. Mu Busho roared crazily, and then divine patterns burst out all over his body. His temple, the Divine Wood King Temple, seemed to respond and burst out with dazzling divine patterns, emitting a terrifying divine light. The power of this divine light has surpassed the power of demigods and gods, and is the power of primary gods. He forcibly activated the royal bloodline power on his body. Not good, this guy wants to drag Yi Tian to be buried with him. Mu Qinger recognized the source of this divine pattern power at a glance and quickly reminded him. However, Yi Tian was not afraid at all, but had some fighting spirit. The royal bloodline is unmatched. He wants to try who is truly unmatched. Ha ha ha, this is power, go to hell, Yi Tian. After activating the power of the divine rune, Mu Busho's realm reached the one-star god. Although it was only the one-star god, This method of increasing power across a large realm was really a bit abnormal. Because in the era of gods, no demigod had ever defeated a one-star god. Even though Mu Busho was a pseudo one-star god, due to the special nature of the royal bloodline, his divine races were greatly strengthened. All the tree monsters of his divine races were merged and turned into towering trees like the World Tree, and they also reached the power of the gods. Because of the level suppression and the divine power full of yang attributes, they could already cause damage to the army of ninjas of the impure world Reincarnation. However, the moment he activated the divine rune, Yi Tian waved his hand and took the army of the impure world Reincarnation back to the underworld. It's not that he couldn't win, but he just didn't want to waste his precious troops. You actually want to fight me and all the races in the god realm with your own strength. Go to hell. Fusion of the temple, birth of the divine tree. Seeing Yi Tian being so arrogant, Mu Busho directly used his strongest secret technique to fuse the temple and the divine tree with himself, concentrating the power of the entire god realm on one point and delivering a self-sacrificing blow. The power of this blow is enough to instantly destroy the god realm of any demigod, but it will also cause irreparable damage to Mu Busho's god realm, and they might die together. The 37 genius demigods behind Mu Busho were all shocked. They didn't expect Mu Busho to be so crazy, but they were also slightly fortunate that sacrificing Mu Busho alone was better than sacrificing everyone. The power of the underworld, the power of the tailed beast, the power of space, the power of thought, the power of reincarnation. Yi Tian did not dodge at all, and went straight to the front, concentrating the power of the races in the god realm and the underworld in one body, and at the same time liberating all his own power, the law of space, the divinity of Hades, the eyes of reincarnation, and the body of the immortal. Stop. Mu Qinger summoned a divine badge from the void, a badge with a black bird pattern, intending to stop Yi Tian and Mu Busho from fighting. Qinger, believe Yi Tian. Tsunade grabbed Mu Qinger's wrist, and Mu Qinger trembled slightly, and stopped for some reason. At the moment she trembled, the outcome was clear. Annihilate the void, Super Shinra Sky Shock. Yi Tian combined all the power of the divine domain to send out a space shock wave at the edge of the metaverse that annihilated space and swallowed up all matter outside of space. In front of this space shock that swallowed everything like a black hole, all enemies could only be suppressed. Mu Busho's self-sacrificing attack seemed particularly small and overconfident. No, Mu Busho didn't expect that his all-out attack would be swallowed up by the space shock, and the temple and himself were swallowed up by the space shock. Moreover, after the space quake swallowed up Mu Busho's divine domain, it continued to spread, sucking in the divine domains and races of the remaining geniuses. Hiss. The 37 geniuses flew to the end of their own divine domains and escaped, but the divine domain races were almost completely wiped out, and the buildings were also destroyed. Only the temples given by the family remained. Their worst temples were given by the middle-level gods. And after the space quake ended, they discovered something shocking. That is, Yi Tian's divine domain had unknowingly expanded to 500,000 square kilometers. Before the era of gods, the area of Shenzhou was only 9.6 million. We lost miserably. The 37 genius demigods who were seriously injured all had sad faces. At this moment, they were holding on to defend their last bit of dignity. Yi Tian was too lazy to care about them. They were already useless. The divine domain was destroyed by 99%. If they were not rescued in time, they would become vegetative. Even if they were rescued later, if their families did not spend a lot of resources, they would never become gods again. A cruel family would probably abandon them, let them live as vegetables for life, and eventually die of old age in the nutrition warehouse. This is the cruelty of the god's age. If Yi Tian loses, then Yi Tian will also end up like this. But Yi Tian will never let this happen. Yi Tian, do you control the laws of space? Otherwise, you can't use that move just now at your level. At this time, Mu Qinger came to Yi Tian, her eyes sparkling, looking forward to his answer. Yi Tian paused, turned his head and stared at this classmate, and said lightly, "You just know it." Ah, should I know it? Mu Qinger was speechless. She only controlled a little bit of the power of the law now. How could she know that Yi Tian had already mastered a complete elementary law, and it was an extremely rare space law? No normal person would guess like this. Speaking of which, thanks to this law, a lot of trouble was saved. Yi Tian didn't expect Mu Busho to fight him desperately at first. The power of this self-destructing soldier was more terrifying than imagined. Mu Busho's self-destruction was enough to kill a star god. Fortunately, Yi Tian controlled the space law and could completely open up space and isolate damage. From the beginning, Mu Busho was doomed to fail. It's just that Yi Tian chose a more powerful way to defeat him. Use all your strength to fight, and suddenly think of a big move. Unexpectedly, the effect was so good that the opponent was wiped out in one go. That's true. I didn't expect him to be so crazy. But did you create that space magic? Mu Qinger remembered the name of that move. It must be created by Yi Tian himself. I guess so. Yi Tian smiled slightly. Super God Luo Tianjun. This move is a move created by Yi Tian imitating the space tremor in the world of Data Live, and combining it with his own space law. The elves in that world can cause space tremors just by controlling the power of space, let alone Yi Tian who controls the space law. In fact, the principle of this move is very simple, that is, to use divine power to cause the collision of the boundary of the adjacent space, causing space tremors. Yi Tian knew this force technique when he was in elementary school, but he didn't control the space law at that time. And he didn't open up the god's domain. There are certain space intersections between God's domains, and even the space between the connected God's domains is not completely stable. As the master of the God's domain and controlling the space law, Yi Tian has all the conditions to create this move. To be honest, when Yi Tian created this move, he remembered the situation of a time traveler, Emperor Yan, who created the Buddha's Wrath Lotus, and that's when he got the inspiration. Although it was just a sudden inspiration, I didn't expect the effect to be so good. Hiss, it's really you who created it. Mu Qinger was completely convinced by Yi Tian. With a demigod body to control the laws and create his own magic, how could a genius be compared with him? Perhaps the princess of the royal family and the little monster in the rumors can be compared. Just as she was thinking this, the artifact badge in her arm sent a divine thought to her. Mu Qinger was startled at first, and then stared at Yi Tian's face with an inexplicable look. Why are you looking at me like this? People who don't know would think you like me. Yi Tian smiled and teased. Stop joking. Mu Qinger's cheeks flushed quickly, but she didn't blame him. Instead, she said in a serious tone, Yi Tian, Her Royal Highness Princess wants to personally reward you. Her Royal Highness Princess. Yi Tian was slightly stunned, thinking that it turned out that a royal princess came this time, but he didn't know which princess it was. And it was a bit unexpected that she rewarded him personally. Princesses of the royal family rarely show up in public. And the most outstanding person in the contemporary royal family seems to be the 13th prince. In the direct line of the Shenzhou royal family, there are 13 princes, 36 princes, and 72 princesses in the same generation as Yi Tian. The number is large, of course, not because the royal family is particularly fertile. In fact, there were not many members of the royal family in the previous generation, and there were only 12 princes and princesses. And the direct line of the royal family of the previous generation had only one son, that is, the emperor of the previous generation of Shenzhou. At that time, all the major forces in Shenzhou were crazy about marrying into the royal family, not because they wanted to climb the power and wealth, but because they were afraid that the direct line of the royal family would be extinct. Given the importance of this selection, Yi Tian originally thought that the person who came this time would be a prince, but he didn't expect it to be a princess, which immediately aroused his curiosity. Which princess is it? Yi Tian looked at Mu Qinger and couldn't help asking. It's Her Royal Highness the Princess. You should be respectful to her. She won't do anything to you if you don't. Mu Qinger habitually reminded her, but then she remembered that she was meeting Yi Tian, so this was a bit redundant. Princess, I didn't expect it was her. Yi Tian was stunned, even more surprised. Princess, not the eldest princess. One is the emperor's sister, and the other is the emperor's eldest daughter. Although the two are sometimes confused, when both exist, the princess generally refers to the emperor's biological sister. I said that the importance of the royal family to this selection is impossible to send a princess, but I didn't expect the royal family to attach more importance to this selection than I thought. Yi Tian knew that the princess of the Shenzhou royal family was a strange woman full of mystery and legends, and no one had ever seen her true face. It is said that in the Shenzhou royal family, the emperor listens to her. She wants to reward herself in person, and Etienne is quite interested in her and wants to see her true face. Are you interested in the princess? Mu Qinger snorted suddenly. Although she had expected it, she didn't know why it happened. Hee. Etienne smiled and didn't comment. After a pause, he said, let's go. I'll go see her with you. At the same time, he asked Tsunade to sort out the divine domain. This time, the harvest was huge. His slime army was going to surge and needed someone to manage it. Tsunade nodded, indicating that this was originally her job. Then, she and Mu Qinger used the artifact badge she had just taken out, left the divine domain with Etienne, and landed directly in the royal ferry boat. Qinger, your identity is not simple. Etienne landed in the palace in the royal ferry boat, glanced at Mu Qinger beside him, and said meaningfully. What identity do I have? Mu Qinger was a little nervous. At that moment just now, she felt that Etienne's eyes could see through all the secrets in the world. But her secrets should not be seen through by Etienne. Etienne did not see through her secret. He just had a sudden impulse and used the system to take a look at Mu Qinger. He found that she was not abnormal. Instead, her soul talent was higher than expected, and the treasures on her body were so many that they could be called mobile treasures, which made Etienne a little envious. You know, Etienne is now a local tyrant with 10 top-grade artifacts and 140 million divine crystals. You can imagine how many treasures Mu Qinger has. She is actually a little rich woman. Etienne was quite surprised. He didn't pay much attention to Mu Qinger in the past. Now he found a lot of problems after a careful look. Mu Qinger's family background is just like this. I just have some blood relationship with the royal family. If people know it, it will be very troublesome. Zhao Xiaorui is an example. For some reason, Mu Qinger always felt that Etienne saw something, so he changed the subject. It reasonably explained why she could directly enter the royal ferry boat. Oh, so that's it. Etienne smiled faintly, thinking that women are really born actors. If it weren't for the system, he would really be deceived by her. It is impossible for a distant relative who is only related to the royal family by blood to carry a treasure. Forget it, just pretend that I don't know. It's rare to be confused. Anyway, his relationship with Mu Qinger is not good enough to share secrets. Brother Etienne, you are here. In the void, a silver fairy light flashed, and a cute face rushed towards Etienne. Etienne was careless and did not dodge, and was successfully attacked by the young little loli. The little loli directly pounced on Etienne's face, then climbed on his shoulders in a few seconds, hugged Etienne's head, and sat on his shoulders. This naughty child. Etienne certainly recognized the little loli with silver hair and twin ponytails on his body. She was the strange little girl who asked him to help pay the money last time and gave the Beibao Chamber of Commerce a discount coupon. At that time, he thought the little girl was the daughter of a senior executive of the Beibao Chamber of Commerce, but she appeared in the royal palace, and her identity should be more noble. Is she your relative? Etienne looked at Mu Qinger and said. My relatives. Mu Qinger wanted to say it, she did, but the little girl gave her a meaningful look, which made her nod. Yes, there is something wrong with your family education. How could a little girl sit on a stranger casually without fear of something happening? Etienne said bluntly. I'm really not afraid that the little girl will be abducted. But as soon as these words came out, well, woo. Mu Qinger's cold and lonely jade face suddenly became very strange, as if she thought of something happy and wanted to laugh, but she was professionally trained not to laugh unless she couldn't help it. What's the situation? Etienne saw Mu Qinger's strange expression, and he was a little curious about the identity of the little girl. Just wanted to use the system to take a look. But at this moment, the fairy air in the palace was floating, the green lotus bloomed, and a flawless fairy shadow came to the mortal world like the nine heavens' mysterious lady. By chance, Etienne turned his gaze with the power of the system to that fairy figure. Instantly, his eyes were shocked, indescribable. Is this the eldest princess? Fairy. It is impossible to describe the temperament of the eldest princess. The only word that Etienne can think of is the word, fairy. And her beauty is even more indescribable. Tsunade's beauty, proud, heroic, and tolerant, can be described. Mu Qinger's beauty, lonely and cold, can be described as a natural spirit walking in the world. But Etienne can't describe the beauty of the eldest princess. What kind of existence is she? Yi Tian rarely takes such an active interest in people, because she gives Yi Tian a feeling that he wants to marry her home at first sight. A heart-moving feeling. Since he is moved, Yi Tian will naturally not be shy and pretend to be a pure man, play ambiguity, but try his best to possess her. He is Yi Tian. The eldest princess in the fairy shadow has a ripple in her eyes, and her heart is also very uneasy at this moment. Because Yi Tian's eyes seem to see through her, it is a kind of equal and complete eyes that see through each other, which is a feeling she has never had before, because no one has ever seen through her fairy shadow. Yi Tian is the first. Although she had seen Yi Tian in the images of the divine realm before, she didn't expect that when they actually met, Yi Tian would surprise her more than when they fought in the divine realm. Is this a kind of fate? A destined fate? Mu Qinger covered her forehead and sighed. Brother Yi Tian, what are you doing? No one is talking. At this time, as if sensing the strange atmosphere in the palace, the silver-haired little loli snorted in dissatisfaction. Xiao Qinger, Brother Yi Tian, and Xiao Shanyan, these three people seemed to have been cast a forbidden spell, so boring. Especially Brother Yi Tian and Xiao Shanyan, are there any problems with their brains? They stared at each other's eyes for so long, what's so good about eyes? Humph, obviously her eyes are also beautiful. Hey, it's okay. Yi Tian came back to his senses and bowed slightly to the princess. Hello, princess. No need to be polite when you see me in the future. The princess's heavenly voice came, but with a hint of unquestionable, as if she was a little unhappy because of Yi Tian's politeness. This fairy sound, it was her singing this morning. Yi Tian didn't expect the princess's voice to be so fairy. The princess saw Yi Tian in a daze, a little confused. Didn't she like her being too strong? Your singing is so beautiful. Yi Tian answered instinctively. The princess paused slightly. Ahem, aunt, let's talk about business. Although Mu Qinger had expected this scene, her tone was still a little sour, as if she had eaten a lemon. She came between Yi Tian and the princess and interrupted their conversation, which was a little weird. She regretted staying here a little. She was looking forward to it before, but now she didn't expect it to be so sour. Qinger, you have grown up too. The princess touched Mu Qinger's head lovingly, then waved her hand gently, letting everyone fall on the Qinglian fairy chair in the palace, while she sat upright on the phoenix throne, not looking at Yi Tian, not looking directly at him. Yi Tian no longer stared at the princess. Although he had an idea, it was too early. Reincarnation space, I will enter the reincarnation space again after tonight. Yi Tian urgently needed to improve his strength. Because the princess's cultivation was very high, stronger than anyone he had seen so far. I think Qin Yan has already told you about the upcoming trials and the whole story. The princess said softly, and then she lightly tapped her jade finger, and the void ripples burst into fairy light. This is your trophy, and the royal family's reward for you. The fairy light entered Yi Tian's body, and at the same time 3 cards emerged in the void. The cards contained 3 temples: the Temple of the King of Wood, the Temple of the King of the Sea, and the Tomb of the Sword Emperor. These were the temples of the 3 great geniuses that Yi Tian defeated: Mu Busho, Nangong Yu, and Lin Tianyi. The 3 temples were once artifacts refined by the King of God or the Emperor of God, and were one of the foundations of the 3 major families. The families made an exception and gave them to participate in the selection competition, but unfortunately they were useless. It was a bargain for Yi Tian. However, what Yi Tian cared about most was not the 3 temples, but the royal fairy light in his body. Royal divine pattern. Yi Tian could feel the power of the Shenzhou royal family that Mu Busho had used before, but the power in the fairy light was thousands of times better than Mu Busho. The grade given by the Wanji login system was Special Talent, Chaos Divine Pattern. Practicing Divine Pattern can create the Supreme Divine Body, Chaos Body. This award is a bit heavy. Are all the royal families rich? Are they so generous? Yi Tian thought to himself. He felt a little strange when he looked at the princess, but the princess looked calm, as if she didn't notice Yi Tian's look. But this deliberateness was felt by Mu Qinger and the little silver-haired Lolita. Suddenly, the atmosphere was silent again. This is a gift from me to you. As if she wanted to change the subject, the princess's jade hand broke through the chaotic void from the fairy shadow, and a mark condensed on the fairy-like jade hand. The mark is invisible and colorless, and even the soul is difficult to sense, but it contains a certain regular power. It fell on the back of Yi Tian's hand, forming a mark like a command spell. Shanyan, you actually gave this to him. You favor him too much. Didn't you treat him as a genius trained by the royal family before? Why do you feel a little weird now? Seeing this mark, the little silver-haired Lolita couldn't sit still, and said in a voice transmission. Mu Qinger didn't recognize him, mainly because she only knew the princess in general, not in detail. Didn't you say that I might not be worthy of him in the battle in the divine realm just now? Now I'm beginning to believe it. The princess's answer made the silver-haired little Lolita at a loss. She just said it casually, based on her feelings. But the princess was also like this at this moment. When she felt it, she made a major decision very boldly, the biggest and most ruthless investment in her life. Women's feelings are so unreasonable. I don't care. If something happens, don't look for me. The silver-haired little Lolita replied angrily. Although she also had high hopes for Yi Tian, she always felt that the princess was too decisive. Although she was so decisive and ruthless, otherwise she wouldn't have so much say in the royal family. Are they playing a whisper? Yi Tian knew that they seemed to be communicating with each other, and he immediately lost interest in staying here. Resigned decisively. Thank you for the kindness of the royal family and the princess. I will take my leave first. Although he wanted to stay a little longer, the girl's whispers had nothing to do with him. It was too embarrassing. Mu Qinger was worried and looked very conflicted. Feeling that there was nothing to do here, Yi Tian planned to go back. Anyway, the spoils and gifts were all sold, and this wave of blood profit. Okay. The princess hesitated and wanted to keep him, but felt that it was too much, so let's leave it at that for today. Brother Yi Tian, I'll take you there, hee, I'll treat you to a meal at Beibao Mall another day. The silver-haired little Lolita came to Yi Tian, swinging her ponytails cutely, her big eyes full of expectation. She didn't like to bring money when she ate, but she could bring people. She didn't like others, but she had an inexplicable liking for Yi Tian, hee. Ah, this. For some reason, Yi Tian felt that this little girl liked to stick to him very much. Although she was a little bit naughty, she was not annoying. Besides, she was so cute and could act cute, Yi Tian was embarrassed to refuse. It was okay to help pay the bill. The little girl gave him a coupon last time, which helped him a lot. But he didn't like playing with children. I suddenly remembered a joke from my previous life. Yi Tian raised his lips slightly and promised, okay, I will definitely do it next time. System, what is the mysterious command spell that the princess gave me? After Yi Tian returned to his bedroom, he asked through the telepathic communication system. Mysterious command spell, unspeakable, no grade. From the system's evaluation alone, it is impossible to tell what it does. It even made him doubt whether the system knew what it was at all. Ding. Reply to the host, this mysterious command spell contains a law power from the void battlefield. When the host is in danger, it can summon an indescribable supreme law power, which can force the host to a certain coordinate in the universe of the gods, but it will cause immeasurable consequences. The Wanji login system felt that the host was questioning the system's ability, and immediately told the specific information of the mysterious command spell in full. Although the system has no intelligence and emotions, it still has the instinct to protect itself. If your evaluation is more detailed, I won't have to ask. Yi Tian said. Ding. There is no detailed explanation of the fairy beans in the reincarnation space. The Wanji login system seemed to say that Yi Tian was double standard. The fairy beans in the reincarnation space were not explained in detail, so he could pick up the leak. The system did not explain the mysterious command spell in detail, but complained about the trouble. Haha, that's true. Yi Tian did not refute this time. He was indeed double standard. Senzu beans were nothing to the reincarnation space, and the mysterious command spell was the same to the 10,000 worlds login system. It was not a great thing. So the system did not describe it in too much detail. Of course, the possibility of the system being lazy cannot be ruled out, haha. But it made me understand one thing, the shorter the introduction, the more incredible the item. Yi Tian chuckled. In fact, this is also the truth of life. The more ordinary it seems, the more unfathomable it may be. Don't underestimate anyone easily. Ding. The host's words are not without reason. Many powerful props in the reincarnation space are not described in detail. Oh, I guessed it right. Yi Tian muttered. No wonder I got the fairy beans. It turns out that the reincarnation space did it deliberately, but what is its purpose? Is the information of powerful props deliberately concealed for balance, or to test the luck of the reincarnators, or simply to keep suspense, make the reincarnation space more magical, and create more miracles? Yi Tian was a little suspicious of the purpose of the reincarnation space, and he felt that the last possibility was higher. But after just thinking about it, he didn't continue to guess, because the reincarnation space did this for him. As long as it's beneficial. And he may be the biggest beneficiary. By the way, is there any problem with the Chaos Divine rune given to me by the royal family, and the mysterious command spell? Yi Tian always felt a little special when he saw the eldest princess, but he still asked the system. After all, he was still a little nervous about whether the royal family would play a beauty trap. Being cautious is always right. Ding. Host, you are a little more cautious this time. The system has already evaluated those special items, and the host's repeated confirmation behavior is unreasonable according to its program logic. But as a system, it has no right to reject the host, so it can only answer according to the system information. Ding. When the host sees the female codenamed princess, the host's heartbeat frequency is consistent with her seeing the host. Oh, Yi Tian's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that the princess's heartbeat would speed up when she saw him. It was really a bit of a surprise. But the next words of the system made Yi Tian stunned. However, the system wants to remind the host that the hormones produced by the host when you see her are only half of those produced by the female when she sees you. What does this mean? Yi Tian asked knowingly. Ding. From a biological point of view, it means that she is greedy for your body. Quote. Yi Tian was silent. Sure enough, boys must protect themselves when they go out. But joking aside, Yi Tian was ecstatic at the moment. Because he is also greedy, he also has a good impression of the princess. But then again, he was a little suspicious whether the princess was using a beauty trap or something. After all, the royal family was notoriously weak in family affection and valued interests, but such a result was too unexpected. Why does she value me so much? Yi Tian was a little puzzled. Is this love? It came too suddenly. Ding. If the system had not come, the host would have a deep cause and effect with that female, and have a destined fate. There is such a thing, why didn't you say it earlier? No, I didn't ask, and I didn't meet her at that time, so it was really unnecessary. Yi Tian thought about it and asked again, what about now, do I still have cause and effect with her? With the protection of the system, the host will not be entangled by any cause and effect, but things like fate are not within the scope of protection of the system. Fortunately, thank you very much. Yi Tian was really shocked by the words of the system, and felt that he almost missed something very important. Ding. The host does not need to thank the system. The logic of the system is very simple. Protecting the host is an innate instinct and a matter of course. The host has no need to thank it at all. Haha. Yi Tian smiled but said nothing. In some ways, this system is really stupid. Now, it's time to count the harvest. Even though she and I have a great affinity, the gap between us is still too big. Without strength, everything is rootless and floating. There is only one place where I can quickly become stronger, the reincarnation space. After pondering for a while, Yi Tian did not relax because of the special relationship between the princess and him, but took the spoils into the god's domain. Prepare to plan the next reincarnation copy with Tsunade. The reincarnation god clan plan is on the agenda again. This time, the effect of the impure world reincarnation is extremely good. Namikaze Minato and 5,000 Konoha ninjas severely damage the 38 geniuses of the god's domain race. The combat power of the Konoha ninjas is definitely not as good as that of the real reincarnationists. When Yi Tian's god's domain race really reaches the level of 10 billion reincarnationists, I really don't know how strong it will be. Divine Realm. Metaverse. Wow, what is this? When Yi Tian returned to Metaverse, he found that Metaverse had changed greatly. In the legendary city of Atlantis, right in front of him, there was a piece of land emitting heat, and towering trees hundreds of thousands of meters high, forming a huge tropical jungle. And behind him was a large frozen plain, covering an area of 100,000 square kilometers, with heavy snow and a climate similar to Antarctica. The tropical jungle and frozen plains surrounded Atlantis. And above Metaverse, an island appeared, a sky island connected to the clouds. Tien, you're back. Tsunade sensed Yi Tian as soon as he came back, and teleported to appear in front of Yi Tian. Has your samsara eye awakened the ability to move space? The space teleportation that Tsunade used just now was more advanced than Flying Thunder God, without any space fluctuations. Yi Tian remembered that Tsunade could not teleport, and her space talent was also average. There was no other explanation except the special ability of Samsara Eye. It's the law of space, your law of space. I can only obtain 90% of your law of space in the God's domain. The effect will be weakened by half when I leave the God's domain. Tsunade explained with a chuckle. I didn't expect the God's domain to change so much. Yi Tian really didn't expect this. The evolution of the God's domain is unknown. After the evolution of the God's domain, the races in the God's domain will also gain certain opportunities. Perhaps Tsunade has a close relationship with Yi Tian, has the same immortal body, and she also has Yi Tian's cells, so the God's domain has gained a great opportunity when it evolves. Hehe, you feel the divine power. Tsunade reminded. Divine power. Yi Tian closed his eyes and felt it for a while, then suddenly opened them. Boom! A colorful divine light rushed up from his body, rolling up the wind and clouds of the God's domain, forming a huge energy vortex, affecting the entire God's domain sky of 500,000 square kilometers. My divine power, the first level God. Yi Tian clenched his fist. The biggest shortcoming of the demigod is the divine power. Now his divine power has reached the realm of the lower God, and even more than 1 star. Because of the SS level immortal body, the divine body is almost the same as the primary God, and because of the innate strength of the divine soul, it can also rival the 1-star God. There is only one thing missing. Godhead. Ignite the divine fire, condense the divine head, transform the divine domain into the kingdom of God, and ascend to the divine spirit. Since I don't condense the divine head, I am no different from the primary God now, because I have already mastered the law, and the combat power of my divine domain race is far beyond the general 1-star lower God. Yi Tian estimated his combat power and did not need to use a big move to defeat Mubusho, who activated the royal divine pattern. Just when Yi Tian's divine power shook the world, 100,000 slimes floated out of the ocean, surrounding Yi Tian and cheering. As if shouting, "Welcome my lord." 100,000 slimes. Yi Tian sighed. After devouring the divine domain races of the 40 geniuses of Shenzhou, they multiplied to an astonishing extent. No wonder Yi Tian's divine power became so exaggerated. First, the environment of the God's domain has been upgraded, and the energy that can be absorbed from the void has been greatly increased. Second, the number of races in the God's domain has skyrocketed, and Yi Tian's strength has naturally skyrocketed. Look carefully, there are many interesting mutants among the 100,000 slimes. Tsunade reminded. Yi Tian concentrated and sensed it, and found that among the 100,000 slimes, 10,000 had evolved into level 2 life, and 1,000 were level 3 mutants. Among these 1,000 level 3 mutants, there were metal slimes, marine slimes, dark slimes, lightning slimes, and even 100 feet dragon slimes, slimes that could transform into dragon forms. Now Yi Tian's divine race's combat power is really terrifying, and it is no longer a shortcoming. Haha, no wonder the textbook says that the fastest way for gods to advance is to plunder resources. Yi Tian sneered, and really thanked Mubusho and the others. Those idiots deserve it, but are the 3 demigods swallowed by your space dead? Tsunade snorted and asked curiously. They can't die. If they were in the void battlefield, they would be dead, but on the ancestral planet Earth, there is a special seal protection that cannot destroy their souls and bodies, and the divine domain connector also has a protection mechanism, so they are now just vegetative. Yi Tian said lightly, becoming a vegetable and never waking up is no different from being dead. Of course, if waking up is better, Yi Tian doesn't mind killing them again. They are lucky. Tsunade gritted her teeth. She could imagine that if Yi Tian lost the battle, she would die in the battle and Yi Tian would become a vegetable. You must never show mercy to the enemy. The world of ninjas is like this. There were ninjas who let go of the enemy because of softness. The enemy took back important information and killed himself and his companions in the village. Lucky. Haha, I hope they come again a few times. Yi Tian laughed loudly, and then took out 3 cards under Tsunade's confused eyes. These 3 cards can be regarded as 3 artifacts of the God King level. The broken sword of the God Emperor is of high grade, but because it is broken, the grade is reduced. Compared with the 5 sets of colorful fairy suits on Tsunade and the 5 sets of top-grade artifacts with destructive power in Yi Tian's hands, these 3 temples are undoubtedly stronger. Why did Yi Tian only get these 3 temples among so many? It was because Nangong Yu and Lin Tianyi were both unconscious, and Mu Busho was even worse. Otherwise, the gods would not seal them, and there would be no dregs left. They were confiscated because their masters were unconscious and they were caught in the space shock of Yi Tian's divine domain. The other genius demigods did not faint on the spot, and the temples were integrated with the divine domain and demigods, so they were not confiscated. Of course, Yi Tian didn't care, because he had already made enough money. It's a pity that they can't exert their true power. Tsunade also recognized that they were the opponent's temples at this time, sensed their grades, and found that they could not drive their power at all. If you want to exert their power, sacrifice 100 million divine crystals to them first. Yi Tian knew very well that these 3 temples were equivalent to the Emperor's imperial weapons in Zishan, and they needed a lot of divine power to drive them. Of course, they have spirits inside, which can awaken in an emergency, or they are willing to fight for Yi Tian and awaken actively. But they were taken by Yi Tian, and it will take some time to make them completely surrender. However, they can't play any tricks, because their previous soul marks have been erased by the princess and sealed. Yi Tian just needs to imprint his own soul mark and slowly refine it. Besides, they are not qualified to attack Yi Tian, and the system can suppress them at any time. Humph, why are they putting on airs? They are just spoils of war, Tsunade said indignantly. Indeed, it's just a temple left by the God King and Emperor. The treasure I'm planning this time may be higher than them. Yi Tian smiled slightly. Really, Tian, you have already thought about the next copy. Tsunade said happily. Compared with the God universe, she likes the reincarnation space more. Because it's a bit boring in the God universe, it's either fighting and killing or rolling around, while in the reincarnation space, you can enter different worlds to adventure and break through levels to grab treasures. We won't be bored when we enter the void battlefield in the future. However, because of the royal family's Zishan plan, we may have to go to the Zishan universe as soon as we enter the void battlefield. Yi Tian thought of the Zishan universe and was a little excited. Thinking of the golden age and the geniuses of all races, he really wanted to capture them all and keep them in the god's domain. Although the Zishan universe is very complicated, he is not afraid because he already has a series of plans in his mind. The premise is that the reincarnation space has refreshed the Zishan copy. Do you want to enter the Zishan universe in the reincarnation copy? Tsunade was in tune with her. As the commander of one side in the Konoha Village Ninja World War, she was still very capable when she was serious. To be precise, first enter the reincarnation space to log into the copy in advance to prepare, then enter from the void battlefield after returning, command to log into the reincarnation space again, and then enter the copy for the second time. Yi Tian said. I was almost confused by what you said, but it is indeed a good idea. Tsunade didn't understand at first, and went around in circles, but she understood it after a simple thought. Entering from the reincarnation space, Yi Tian is invincible, and can also choose the login time. After being fully prepared, enter from the void battlefield, because if you don't enter from the void battlefield, the royal family will be suspicious. After entering, no one can restrict Yi Tian. Yi Tian can enter the reincarnation space whenever he wants, and he can also go into the reincarnation space on purpose and come back to do tasks. It feels a bit like I log into the reincarnation space in Konoha Village, and then return to my doorstep to do tasks. Tsunade said metaphorically. It's quite appropriate. Yi Tian smiled. This way, the risk is the smallest and the benefit is the greatest. If the plan is well planned, he can get the biggest one in the Zishan universe in advance. What are you waiting for? Tsunade directly pulled Yi Tian's hand, and Yi Tian smiled and nodded. Samsara space. When Yi Tian and Tsunade came in again, they chose the Samsara building. Are we going to enter the Zishan copy now? Tsunade asked. No, just determine the location of the copy first. You need to prepare a lot before you can enter. It's too difficult for us to enter with our current strength. Yi Tian shook his head. Because of the period he chose, he couldn't be omnipotent and omniscient. He didn't know the plot of that period. Without the advantage of the plot, he needed to prepare a lot of things. Yes, the Supreme in that world is equivalent to the God King, and there are dozens of monsters of this level. It's a bit scary to think about it. Tsunade's mind was clear, and her expression became cautious. She was a little excited just now. That magnificent arrow was indeed very attractive. But the danger was also extremely high. This time, I have to find more trump cards, and you have another mission. My second divine domain depends on you. Yi Tian plans to open up his second divine domain in the reincarnation space, and this second divine domain will eventually be opened in the copy world. With the protection of the reincarnation space, his second divine domain will be indestructible. You want to conquer my world and use it as your second divine domain. I think I'm still a little short of it. Tsunade guessed Yi Tian's plan at once, but she was a little nervous. She has the reincarnation eye and the sage body, and her strength is second only to the six-path sage. In addition to the law of space, the six-path sage can knock it. Kagaya Otsutsuki has little combat experience. She also has a chance of winning, but she can't kill Kagaya Otsutsuki. Conquering the 5 major ninja villages is no problem, but conquering the whole world is still a little short of it. You are too impatient. We can return to the Konoha dungeon at any time without consuming the number of reincarnations. We can take it slowly. You should first secretly control the 5 major ninja villages, create a mysterious force, and recruit as many reincarnations as possible as your subordinates. It is best if even those reincarnations do not know who their boss is behind the scenes, as long as they work hard for you. Then secretly observe the reincarnations. If you encounter a reincarnation with excellent qualifications and good character, create some fatal crises for these reincarnations, and then you save them. The condition is to sign a contract. Between life and death, most people know how to choose. Yi Tian said with a smile. Wow, God, you are too bad. You are both a good guy and a bad guy. After hearing this plan, Tsunade's eyes lit up. This plan almost caught all the reincarnations in the Naruto dungeon. The excellent and good reincarnations can be made direct descendants, and the grace of saving their lives can be used as a condition for them to sign a contract. The rest of the samsaras can be used if they can be used, and if they can't be used, they will be used again after they die. In this way, the samsara clan will develop all of a sudden. But I only choose female samsaras for our samsara clan. Tsunade thought for a while and added. Why, Yi Tian originally thought so, but she didn't expect Tsunade to bring it up first. That's for sure. Tsunade rolled her eyes at Yi Tian. It was to avoid suspicion, and girls are easier to control than boys. Men are more ambitious. Women are different. In the world of universal samsara, most women will choose to be samsaras more than boys. Women are born with a lack of security. How can they protect themselves without power, especially when their world is full of samsaras? If you don't want to be a man's appendage, there is only one way out, samsara. Besides, becoming a samsara, not to mention immortality, it is still quite easy to achieve eternal youth. Few women can resist this temptation. Women understand women best, and Tsunade is absolutely sure to control them. Although signing a contract is a one-time thing and cannot be betrayed, there are always some hidden dangers. Okay, then we will act separately. After that, Yi Tian and Tsunade acted separately. Tsunade went directly back to the Hokage copy, and the first target was the secluded place of the Senju clan. Yi Tian went to the auction house. The 2 SS-level intelligence and SSS-level intelligence he had consigned to the auction house before should cause quite a stir. The auction will start at 12 o'clock tonight. Now it is exactly 11:50. It's almost time. The SS-level Samsara World Legion card can be obtained tonight. Samsara Auction House, first floor lobby. Wow, there are so many big guys today. Dragon Mark, Titan, Holy 10, Shadow, Quicksand. 10 of the top 50 legions are here. That's why you are so ignorant. There will be a very important auction at 12 o'clock. What auction? An auction for SS level and SSS level information. Hiss. Who can provide this kind of information? Didn't the Emperor complete the SSS level? Well, but it is said that the Holy 10 Legion has actually reached the critical moment of impacting the SSS level reward before, but the Emperor completed it first. The Emperor's I'm so lucky. Didn't the 10th Saint Legion achieve the Super God rating later? No, I gave up. It was too difficult. I wanted to get the first prize. Without the first place, I might have to pay 10 or 100 times the price in that copy for an SSS rating. They are not stupid. That's true. All ratings are fake. The most important thing in the reincarnation space is profit. But then again, if there is SSS information, it should be much easier to achieve the Super God rating. That's for sure. Otherwise, why would so many forces come to auction? Yi Tian passed by the lobby on the first floor, listening to the discussions of the reincarnationists around him, and smiled slightly. It seems that the SS level Reincarnation Legion card that can enter the world is no problem. But it's not easy to use the Tiandi ID this time. Yi Tian's ID Tiandi is almost his original appearance, because he rarely enters the universal reincarnation Earth, and he is not afraid of conspiracy and investigation when using his own appearance. But this auction was too high profile. If others knew that Emperor of Heaven knew so much SS and SSS intelligence, then all forces in the samsara space would target him, and no one could resist the temptation. It's time to use it. Yi Tian took out the second samsara watch. When he first arrived, he bought the samsara watch from the two skipping high school students. One was used to create the ID Emperor of Heaven, and the second one could be used today. No wonder there are people selling samsara watches in the real world. They can really come in handy at certain times. Activate the samsara watch and create the ID, Pluto. Yi Tian found a separate space and silently chanted in his heart. He saw a flash of black light on his body, and the image of a black wizard wrapped in a black robe appeared in the samsara space, and then entered the auction house from the door. The time was just 12 o'clock in the morning, and the first round of auctions was an SS level intelligence, which was a very simple intelligence in the Marvel copy, but because of the information gap, it was worth SS level. The Red Sky Legion bids 1 SS Samsara Legion card, plus 10 million Samsara points. The Demon King Legion bids 2 SS Samsara Legion cards. The Shadow Legion bids 2 SS Samsara Legion cards, plus 1 S level talent card. The Holy 10 Legion bids 2 SS Samsara Legion cards, plus 3 SS level skill cards. Liusha 1 SS level Samsara Legion card, plus an SSS level item. Hiss. Is Liusha crazy? SSS level items, that's the top item in the samsara space. I don't know, but they may have found something in that copy recently. Forget it, the next one is our highlight. The legions were shocked by Liusha's generosity, and the representatives of the other 9 top 50 legions looked at the woman in the mist who was as cold as the Moon Palace goddess and shook their heads slightly. You can grab it, but there's no need. So the first round ended like this. Liusha, I didn't expect it to be such a coincidence, but the SSS level props are the top level ones. Haha, the gradeless ones haven't spoken yet. Yi Tian smiled. He didn't expect that Yan Lingji's army would buy his information. If he had known earlier, he could give them some rebates, haha. SSS level props, although not as good as those mysterious gradeless props, but he also made a lot of money, which was a bit embarrassing. Ding. The first round of auctions is over, and the second round of auctions is open. Product. SS level information, from the copy, The Secrets of Athena and Hades. The first round of auctions ended in less than 5 minutes, causing the second round to come quickly. Although the name of this copy is very strange, don't think wrongly. In fact, this copy is Saint Seiya copy. When Yi Tian saw that the Saint Seiya copy was called this name, he was also shocked. I don't know if the reincarnation space is a bad taste or something, and took such a copy name. However, although the name is strange, Saint Seiya is actually a high-end anime world of gods and demons. Although it cannot reach the top configuration, according to the setting of Saint Seiya, the upper limit of the Saint Seiya world is theoretically extremely high, omnipotent universe level, even the super god in Saint Seiya, multiverse guaranteed, and even multiverse omnipotent level. Saint Seiya is just the old version of the anime, which makes people feel weak. But the world level of the reincarnation space is not divided according to the performance of the anime, but according to the setting. And the Saint Seiya intelligence sold by ETN is simpler, that is, Athena in the sanctuary is fake. Of course, most reincarnations enter that copy and think it is a modern world. Hades and Athena may just be the male and female protagonists of a love novel. It is not that there are no such pitfall copies. There are all kinds of copies in the reincarnation space. If you want to explore them, it will consume the energy of most forces. In this way, they sometimes prefer not to do hidden tasks and choose to complete the main line and leave. They don't have so much energy. However, the reincarnation core is not a pushover. They have long known that the upper limit of the military power of the world of Hades and Athena is extremely high. However, the god-demon level SS reincarnation core they sent were completely wiped out. They didn't even know how they died. After resurrection, their memories were also completely lost. Therefore, the SS intelligence of this copy is more important to these forces that have lost SS level reincarnation core than the SS level intelligence auctioned by ETN. Because if they don't do something, it will be a big loss. ETN can sense that as soon as the second round of intelligence came out, the representatives of several legions breathed more quickly. It seems that tonight, he is going to make a fortune. This SS level information is for my Holy 10th Legion, 3 SS Reincarnation Legion cards. The representative of the Holy 10th Legion, an SS level reincarnator, showed holy light in the mist and oppressed the reincarnators present. Even the S+++ level demigod Great Perfection reincarnators could not bear his pressure. Stronger than the average primary god, but not as strong as the middle god. ETN is now equivalent to a lower god, so he can easily distinguish the strength of this SS level reincarnator without the system. This strength is just so-so for ETN, but in the reincarnation space, he is definitely a real strong man. The top 50 legions in the reincarnation space are quite powerful, and one representative is at the level of a 9-star primary god. Boom. At this moment, the SS level reincarnator representative of the Demon King Legion also burst out with his amazing aura, which is stronger than the representative of the Holy 10th Legion. You want to get the information of the world of gods and demons with 3 legion cards. Dream on. The representative of the Demon King Legion snorted coldly and raised the price. We will offer 3 SS Legion cards and a Demon King summoning card. The Demon King summoning card has no grade, but can be used 3 times, and each time you can randomly summon a Demon King clone. No grade. ETN was slightly moved when he heard it. At present, all the props without grades he encountered were good things. Haha, you Demon Kings have the nerve to take it out without grade. The representative of the Holy 10th Legion sneered and said, we offer an SS level Holy Angel Bloodline card, which is higher than your bid. Haha, your bid may not be higher than ours. The representative of the Demon King Legion mocked. The bottom price of both parties is like this, but it is hard to say who is higher or lower. Chi Shao Legion, bid 3 SS level Samsara Legion cards, plus a time travel card. This is a special SS level login card. You can choose the time, place and identity of the copy world login, but after logging out, you cannot bring out any items and creatures, and the time and history of the next login will be corrected. Chi Shao Legion ignored them and directly bid. Chi Shao Legion, are you kidding me? The representative of the Holy 10 Legion looked ugly. He didn't expect that there would be someone competing with them besides the Demon King Legion. But what's the use of this kind of props? Although it is very special, it can't bring out any props and lives. It's very useless. Shabi. The red-haired female swordsman sent by the Chi Shao Legion didn't even bother to look at the representative of the Holy 10. It's not up to Shabi whether to bid or not. The current situation is a stalemate. ETN was a little entangled at this time. The bids of these 3 legions were not in accordance with common sense, and they directly gave the bottom line. At most, it would add some reincarnation points, but it would be impossible to give SS level items. 1 SS level intelligence for 4 SS level items, because they had already lost precious combat power in the Saint Seiya copy, and they came to bid unwillingly. If the price is too high, it is better to give up that copy, or find a way to slowly get it. Which one should I choose? As the auctioneer of the item, ETN has the power to make a choice when the auction prices are not much different. The Red Sky Legion. In the end, ETN chose the time travel card, which seemed to be the most useless, but was the most useful to him. Ding. The second round of bidding is over, and the third round will start in 5 minutes. I didn't expect the Red Sky Legion to get it. After the result came out, the Saint 10 representative also exhaled heavily. To be honest, he didn't know whether it was worth it, because as long as the SS level talent card does not perish and is properly cultivated, the Legion can give birth to one more God and Demon reincarnation. God and Demon reincarnation is still very valuable, especially in the reincarnation space. As long as it does not die, it can have a broad future. Representatives of the Demon King Legion and other legions had similar ideas. Seeing this, Yi Tian thought to himself, it seems that intelligence is only intelligence after all, and its value is still limited. However, just as his idea arose, it was shattered by the next auction. Ding! Start the third round of auction. Commodity, SSS level intelligence, copy, Academy City. As soon as the auction started, in an instant, the Dragon Pattern Legion, which ranked 10th among the top 50 legions, made a direct bid. A Reincarnation World Legion card plus True Dragon Bloodline card, fused with the True Dragon Bloodline card, has the potential to become the highest mythical creature. Instantly, the whole audience was silent, and no one bid for a long time. The bloodline potential of the highest mythical creature, the True Dragon. Ordinary SSS level intelligence cannot be exchanged. But they didn't expect that there would be even richer people. Titan Core, 1 SS Core card plus Giant Transformation card jointly made by 12 core commanders, can transform into Titan Giant God 12 times, each time stronger than the last. At the same time, holding this card, you can also share our Titan Corp's non-exclusive copy information for free, can enter and exit our corpse base, and enjoy certain privileges. The Titan Core was silent just now, not because they were shocked, but because they were communicating with the core to increase the price. The SSS level reincarnationists, the props they jointly made are absolutely powerful, and can be used 12 times, which can be used as a trump card. Yi Tian underestimated the desire of the reincarnation space for information. Do you know, the Titan Core is so crazy, or because many people disappeared in the Academy City copy, including the son of a core commander. On the seat next to him, there was an S-level reincarnationist with a golden watch, explaining to his companions. What's going on? It was in that copy. I thought it was a sure win, but I didn't expect that many members of the Titan Legion and the Dragon Legion, and S-level reincarnationists, were missing. No one was found alive. No body was found dead, and they couldn't be resurrected. We sent people to look for them, but there was no response. They were either dead or missing, and even a core SS level member died. After paying a huge price, we realized that the water was deep. Can't the Titan Legion leader solve it? I don't know. The reincarnation space is limited. Reincarnationists who can destroy the copy world will definitely not be able to enter. What if they die after their strength is reduced? The price is more serious than giving up the copy world. The Dragon Legion is in a similar situation. An important person is missing. I see. Yi Tian suddenly understood, and silently mourned for the two legions in his heart. The missing people should have been captured by the big boss of the Academy City for research. May God bless them. In the Academy City copy, there is a world with Demon God. The Demon God in that world is an unreasonable thing. In the Magical Index universe, he is known as an omnipotent and omniscient existence. The laws of the world are unreasonable. It is not a matter of strength or weakness. It is just that the laws are like this. In their world, we can only adapt to their laws. Even if there is the power to destroy that world, it is still impossible to do it under the restrictions of the reincarnation space. In a word, it depends on the intelligence. In the reincarnation space, intelligence is king, and its importance cannot be replaced. Yi Tian smiled slightly, proving once again that the reincarnation space is his paradise. My SSS intelligence can let them know the truth. People should be able to trade back. It's a pity for the people of the Dragon Mark Legion. Yi Tian finally decided to choose the bid of the Titan Legion, because he has the Chaos Divine Mark and he does not need the potential of the highest mythical creature. He can forge a chaotic body by himself. Ding! The Titan Legion won the bid, and the auction is over. After making the choice, the auction ended. After receiving the auction harvest at the auction house, Yi Tian left without looking back. But when he came out of the auction house, he was stopped by a moonlight shadow wrapped in mist. I remember it seemed to be a representative of the Quicksand Army. Sir, can you please have a word with me? What's up? Yi Tian looked unhappy, and the Pluto's divinity burst out, making a hoarse voice with the netherworld. Sir, I and my army have no ill intentions. The moon goddess in the mist had a nervous tone. If Yi Tian checked with the system at this moment, he would find that her face in the mist was very shocked. The divinity of the netherworld, this Pluto actually has the strength of an SS-level reincarnationist. No wonder he controls so much copy information, but why is the evaluation still F? He didn't go to the reincarnation building to challenge the upgrade task. The moon goddess was secretly shocked, as if she had discovered a new world. Not upgrading the level of the reincarnationist can certainly hide the strength, but the space privileges lost are more. As for whether it is a newcomer, she didn't think so at all. Can a newcomer have SS-level strength and know so many secrets of the reincarnation space copy? In her heart, Yi Tian has been regarded as a big boss-level figure who has been forbearing for 3 years and can emerge from the abyss at any time. No ill intentions, why are you blocking my way? Yi Tian snorted coldly. Seeing that Yi Tian was unhappy, Yushin Chenying simply said, Sir, our army just wants to express our goodwill to you. If you have similar products in the future, you can contact us at any time. This is a gift. After that, she left a space ring floating in front of Yi Tian, and then dissipated in the space with the mist. This is not logging out, but moving in space. She can also teleport in the reincarnation space, and there is also the mist that protects their ids. Are these the privileges of SS-level reincarnationists? Yi Tian held the space ring and found that he seemed to be at a disadvantage if he did not upgrade his reincarnation level. His ID can be seen by others at any time. The level is also public information. It's just that others can't detect his strength. It seems that the level of reincarnationist still needs to be improved. There seems to be a reward for upgrading. Yi Tian looked at the promotion task in the reincarnation watch. His promotion conditions had been met long ago. 2 SSS level evaluations allowed him to skip E and D from F level and directly challenge the promotion task of C level reincarnationists. The level experience gained by the SSS level evaluation is much higher than the upgrade experience of ordinary reincarnations, and 1 time is equivalent to 10 times. Just upgrade to S at once. Yi Tian thought about it, suppressed the mood of upgrading, and turned to the copy hall of the reincarnation building. Copy hall. Have you heard that Konoha is almost finished? Because of the Nine Tails Rebellion, it is said that the leader, the 4th Hokage, is dead. Not only that, the village elders are also dead, and more than half of the elites are killed or injured. It is said that the granddaughter and nephew of the 1st Hokage also stabbed Konoha in the back. Then Konoha is finished. I think it's 9 out of 10. After entering the copy hall again, when passing by the Hokage copy, I found that Tsunade had already entered. Moreover, the popularity of the Hokage copy in the reincarnation space is very high, and more teams are formed. Many people discuss the situation of the Naruto copy. But no one analyzed it correctly. Hehe, although Konoha is seriously injured, it is still a little short of destroying Konoha. Yi Tian said in his heart. Konoha still has a strong foundation. Although Danzo and his men died, they did not hide in the sewers every time Konoha attacked. During the Nine Tails Rebellion and Pain's attack on Konoha, they either stabbed in the back or hid and waited for the opportunity. Now that Danzo is dead, the elders targeting the Uchiha clan will be killed, and the Uchiha clan has no reason to rebel. The 3rd Hokage also needs the power of the Uchiha clan. Konoha is actually more stable than at this time in the original plot. Moreover, Konoha has such a big thing, and Jiraiya, one of the 3 ninjas, may return early. The intelligence deviation is so outrageous. It seems that Tsunade will definitely be able to deal with many suicidal reincarnations this time. Yi Tian knew that Tsunade still had some feelings for Konoha. If the reincarnations really regarded Konoha as a soft persimmon, then, the army of reincarnations would have to add countless people. There is no problem with the Naruto copy. According to intelligence, the Naruto copy is still in the development stage and has not attracted much attention from the major forces in the reincarnation space. Reincarnationists with strength greater than Tsunade cannot enter and exit the copy freely. In this way, Yi Tian felt relieved. Without any worries, Yi Tian began to check the copy of the reincarnation space. Zishan, is there any existing copy? But it may not be called this name. Yi Tian was a little disappointed, but did not give up and continued to search for the Zishan copy with other methods. Found it, the 9 dragons pulling coffin copy. The reincarnation space will open a special, growth, copy in a week. Gods and demons should be careful in this copy. After checking the keywords, Yi Tian found the Zishan copy, which is called the 9 dragons pulling coffin in the reincarnation space. Haha, it's appropriate, that's the cause of the incident. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. With the 9 dragons pulling coffin copy in the reincarnation space, his plan would be foolproof. Next, it's time to enter my target copy this time. After a pause, Yi Tian searched for the Marvel copy and found the entrance to the Marvel copy. On the 108th floor of the Samsara building, all the entrances are to the Marvel dungeons, but the entrances are different. The entrances are marked with the following: movie, comic, unknown, not yet opened. Dungeon level, unlimited. Unlimited dungeons, you are amazing, Marvel. In Yi Tian's opinion, the unlimited dungeons do not restrict any reincarnationists from entering, which clearly shows that they want to kill some god-level reincarnationists. The Marvel in the movie world is okay, only Thanos, the purple potato spirit, is invincible during the snap of his fingers. But the comics are unreasonable, and anyone can slaughter the entire universe. As for the unknown, what version is this? Yi Tian can't speculate, but there is always a sense of danger, and it hasn't been opened yet, so it's probably even harder to predict. I'd better choose the movie entrance. Yi Tian came to plan the opportunity of the Marvel world, not to challenge the limit, and other dungeons will be considered later. The most important purpose of his choice of Marvel this time is to seek stability. Because what he wants is Infinity Stones. Chapter 51. Infinity Gems. One of the most classic treasures in the Marvel Universe. There is no time traveler who enters the Marvel Universe who does not want Infinity Gems, and Yi Tian is no exception. This is how Yi Tian quickly becomes stronger. In comparison, Captain America's Superman potion, Iron Man's mecha, mutant bloodline, etc. are not as prioritized as Infinity Gems. Chaos power, Phoenix power, etc. are certainly powerful, but they are much more difficult to obtain than Infinity Gems. Especially the Infinity Gems in the movie version, Yi Tian, who knows the plot, can basically get all of them. Be bolder, Yi Tian can even let Thanos collect some, and then snatch them from Thanos, but that is when he needs to collect 6 gems, and now he does not need to collect all of them. The Infinity Gems in the movie version may be greatly discounted without the power of the Marvel Universe in the movie version, but I just got this. Yi Tian took out the SSS props obtained from the auction house. Special item copy card. Special item copy card. Can only be used in the reincarnation instance world. Can only copy unique items below SSS level in that reincarnation instance world. The level of the copied item is unknown, but can be upgraded. With this copy card, even if the grade of the Infinity Gem is reduced, Yi Tian can upgrade later. It's a pity that there is only one copy. SSS items are too rare, and the original card has a bit of gambling elements. This copy card has risks. The grade is unknown after copying, and the restrictions are not small. It can only be used in the instance world, and it is still below SSS level, not including non-grade. Non-grade has no high or low distinction at all. Although there are various restrictions, for Yi Tian, it is not a problem to be able to upgrade later. The entire reincarnation space instance is his resource. Marvel. In order to fight against the Mind Gem, you have to prepare a set of Iron Man suits. Yi Tian plans to enter the instance from the time period of Avengers 1, which is the time when Loki came to the Earth to make trouble. In that time period, you can almost get 2 Infinity Gems for free. However, although Loki's strength is not a concern, the Mind Stone on his scepter is a real Infinity Stone. Yi Tian is not sure whether his soul can withstand the Mind Stone. The power furnace on Iron Man's second-generation iron battle suit has a new element, which is an isotope with the Space Stone. The power between the Infinity Stones will cancel each other out, so this is the fatal weakness of the Mind Stone. Let's check where I can buy it first. The Marvel copy has been in the reincarnation space for quite a long time, otherwise the Quicksand Corps would not have spent so much to buy its information. Quicksand. That's right. Yi Tian just remembered that the representative of the Quicksand Core gave him a small gift just now, and he immediately used his soul to sense it in the reincarnation space. If there is a trap inside, it is safe in the reincarnation space, but it is hard to say when entering the copy. I didn't expect her to be thoughtful. After Yi Tian sensed the items in the space ring with his spirit, he found that they were all energy jade slips. Jade slips that can store information and skills. There is a lot of information about the reincarnation space: power intelligence, business intelligence, gossip, a list of reincarnationists not complete, and a little information about the dungeon, but it is not valuable and there is no information above S level. In general, the gift is not very heavy, but very useful. Especially the one in it, the treasure map. It is a self-made map of the reincarnation, which collects the treasures that have appeared in the reincarnation space. Of course, it is not a percentage, but 99% of the treasures should be included. Iron Man, the second-generation battlesuit. As expected, there is a second-hand dealer selling it at the entrance of the 108th floor dungeon. Yi Tian smiled, because this little gift saved him a little time. Although it took some time to find it, if he couldn't find it, he could get it by making friends with Tony when he entered the Marvel world earlier. Now, without any worries, Yi Tian restored the ID of the Emperor of Heaven and climbed to the 108th floor of the reincarnation building on foot. Brother, do you want to buy something? We have the latest Nano Iron Man suit. At the entrance of the movie copy, a reincarnation vendor saw Yi Tian go upstairs and look around, and he was immediately delighted. Nano suit. Has the copy passed the time period of Avengers 1? Yi Tian was shocked, but asked calmly, Nano suit. Isn't the latest second-generation suit? Haha, it seems that brothers also have information, then I won't hide it from you. The plot of S.H.I.E.L.D. has just passed, but this is when my buddy received the reward. He got the level up effect, that is a reward for A-level evaluation. The vendor said proudly. Which brother of yours? It can't be you. Yi Tian looked at the smug look of the reincarnation vendor and couldn't help complaining in his heart. However, since the plot has not passed, it's okay, and it can save a time and space login card. After a pause, Yi Tian got back to the point. How many points? Technology products are not easy to sell in the reincarnation space, and you are so handsome, so I'll give you a discount, 2,000 points. The reincarnation vendor didn't ask for too much. The price was reasonable, because the second-generation Iron Man suit was priced at 1,000 points, and the nanotype was considered the third generation, so 2,000 points was not expensive. If the real world of the whole people's reincarnation had not already mastered the nano-armor technology, it would be impossible to buy it with 2,000 points. Deal. Yi Tian directly transferred 2,000 reincarnation points to the other party. Okay, I like this kind of generous boss. I wish you good luck in martial arts. The vendor happily completed the transaction and respectfully watched Yi Tian walk into the dungeon. Marvel Dungeon. Open. Reincarnation copy. Marvel Cinematic Universe. S.H.I.E.L.D. Weapons Research and Development Base. S.H.I.E.L.D. Director Fury, who looks like a boiled egg, is discussing the progress of the group's weapons research with several scientists. S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Hawkeye, who is also one of the superheroes, is escorting them. But they didn't see that the cosmic cube, space gem, suddenly flashed. Ding! Sensing special items Infinity Gems, and the Dark Space Law, can improve the player Tiandi's Law level, power and cultivation speed. Yi Tian used the Space Law at the moment of his arrival, so the people of S.H.I.E.L.D. couldn't see him. Not to mention S.H.I.E.L.D., even the Ancient One who was silently observing the Earth, or Rodin, the Lord of the Nine Realms, couldn't see him. When he came in, he was protected by the reincarnation space, and no one noticed it. After he came in, because of the system protection, no one could see Yi Tian in the long river of time and space, and the Ancient One's time gem was invalid. Odin was simple, and he couldn't see through Yi Tian's space law at such a long distance. You can take the space stone directly now, but if you do that, Loki's mind stone will be gone. Yi Tian wanted to take the space stone directly at this moment, because it was so compatible with him. But he still held back and waited for Loki to come. When the time comes, while taking the Mind Stone, he will teach Loki a lesson and let him know who is the real god. In the Marvel copy, Yi Tian is set as a god from the God Realm universe. This time, his identity can be described as playing his true self. And it happened to be at this time. Ding! The player's Tiandi identity setting is detected, and the hidden task is activated. God descends to Earth. Requirements. Play as a god from another world and send down miracles. The greater the impact on the Marvel Universe, the higher the task evaluation. The highest evaluation is SSS. Main task. Choose a camp and defeat the Avengers or the Chitauri army led by Loki. Side task. Kill the enemy's reincarnation to get points, reincarnation watches, and have a certain probability of obtaining talents, equipment, props and other items. Hidden tasks, main tasks, side tasks. This time the tasks were issued all at once. Yi Tian smiled slightly. The last time I entered the Naruto copy, it might be because of the time period, but the main line was released last. But I didn't expect to trigger the hidden task. The highest evaluation is SSS, that is, an SSS level hidden task, but the difference from Yanlingji's task is that the lower limit is lower. At present, Yi Tian found that there are 3 ways to get SSS evaluation. Complete the hidden main task, which is the most difficult, and Yi Tian also has luck. The second is to trigger and complete the SSS level hidden mission. This is Yanlingji's mission. It is very difficult and depends on luck. If she doesn't meet Yi Tian, Yanlingji can only give up or she will die. The third is to complete a mission with a certain upper limit that can reach the SSS score. This is the easiest because it was triggered by Yi Tian and he is confident that he can complete it. Playing the role of a god, I am a god. Yi Tian smiled slightly. This mission is a bit interesting. It is very similar to the Time Traveler's set of cups. I didn't expect that the mission in the reincarnation space would also play this routine. In this case, I will wait for Loki to come and then I will take action. Yi Tian used the law of space to plant the Flying Thunder God mark on the cosmic cube and the shield personnel present. The Flying Thunder God mark branded with the law of space cannot be seen unless Odin and others come in person. Done, let's retreat. Yi Tian gained a lot tonight, but he was a little tired. First, he fought a battle with 50 geniuses in the God realm, then met the eldest princess, and after entering the reincarnation space, he participated in the auction and entered the dungeon. He didn't have a chance to rest. Now Loki hasn't come yet, so now is a good time to relax. Well, maybe I can go to Black Widow to talk about life. As for the space gem, it's just in the bag. Very good, everything goes well, and our Earth will soon have the power to protect itself. At this time, Director Lu Dan didn't know that his space gem had been remembered by Yi Tian, and he was complacent. While Yi Tian was talking to Black Widow about life, a large number of reincarnations were divided into 2 groups and entered the Marvel movie dungeon. One group came in and landed directly in the universe. The other group was scattered all over the Earth. Captain, is it really okay for us to choose the Earth side? Humans rarely beat aliens. The strongest forces in this copy are S.H.I.E.L.D. and Iron Man. In a team of reincarnators that landed near S.H.I.E.L.D., an A-level black-robed swordsman reincarnator said with some concern. The other reincarnators also looked at their captain, a veteran S-level reincarnator, a young woman who looked elegant and heroic, exuding a destructive aura, ID, Princess Qian. Princess Qian. This time we cooperated with Quicksand, and the SS-level intelligence we got was absolutely true, otherwise it would not have triggered the faction war. There are many benefits to winning the faction war, and it just so happens that our opponent is the hostile legion. As a human, choosing to be a lackey of aliens is meaningless. In that case, let's go to the main battlefield of the war to prepare for the war now. The black-robed swordsman hesitated. No. Princess Qian flashed a sly smile on her face and gave an unexpected answer. Let's hide first and make a decision after the war begins. The Samsara team was shocked. Captain, what are you doing? Hee, before coming in, I saw a very important ID, and we logged into the same dungeon. Princess Qian smiled mysteriously, and she was full of expectations for the development of the next mission. The next day, in the presidential suite of a 5-star hotel in the beautiful New York City, Yi Tian woke up slowly, and next to him lay a beautiful figure with short red hair. There are many reincarnations. Yi Tian smiled faintly. The sea of consciousness of a demigod is the same as the range of the divine domain, and his sea of consciousness is only 500,000 square kilometers. Therefore, all the reincarnations that landed near the shield base were sensed by him. The sudden increase of so many reincarnations obviously means that something big happened in this copy. Faction War Mission. Yi Tian immediately thought of the key point. There are reincarnations in the copy. When he descended under the secret base of S.H.I.E.L.D., the faction war mission he issued affected all the other reincarnations on Earth. Moreover, S.H.I.E.L.D. may not be without reincarnations, so they will trigger this mission sooner or later. Yan Lingji said that the reincarnation space is now mainly based on cooperation, but there are so many waves of reincarnations coming in when encountering a faction war. This is unreasonable, so there is only one possibility: there is a breakthrough or a conflict between the legions. Yi Tian thought, took out the space ring given to him by the SS-level reincarnation representative of Liusha, and looked through the conflict between Legion, and found that it was really as he guessed. The Legion war in the reincarnation space is once every 6 months, and there is almost no chance to start a war and compete for rankings during this period. It is impossible to take action in the reincarnation space, and the mission copy is the best battlefield to resolve disputes. However, there are too many variables in the mission dungeon. Sometimes the fight between the two sides affects innocent people, causing the boss behind the dungeon to take action and wipe out the reincarnations of both legions. There are many such examples. Therefore, the reincarnation dungeon with faction war missions is what the legions that want to fight are most happy to see. Should I create a legion now? Yi Tian checked the props column. Special items. Mysterious command spell, Senzu Bean X9, special item copy card, Titan card, time travel card. Items. Reincarnation core card X5, Heaven's Lock, Space Ring, top grade artifact Destruction 5-piece set, Book of Seals, Instance Identity card X2, Time and Space login card X2, God level login card. SS level BCBJ, Blood limit card X9, S level blood limit card X1. 5 SS level reincarnation core cards can be used to establish core in 5 instance worlds, but if you don't aim to conquer the world, it would be a waste to use them. Yi Tian knew that level 55 items were not so easy to obtain. This time, the top 50 reincarnation core were dispatched to pay the price. One less item is used, so he decided to hold back. He could establish a presence in the Marvel movie instance, but it was still early, and he was alone. Well, he had to add a Black Widow. That was the Black Widow who was lying next to him pretending to be dead. Last night, she pretended to be caught in the Northern Bear territory, but Yi Tian suddenly came down from heaven and smashed all her tasks. But she didn't know why. She couldn't get angry at all, and was bewitched by Yi Tian's words, and then they talked about life and ideals. It was just that Yi Tian was a little surprised that the Black Widow in this copy had very little emotional experience, because decades ago she had met a reincarnation of the Quicksand, a woman, who was extremely powerful and saved her life, which should be a mission. Of course, Black Widow didn't know that the woman was a reincarnation, and reincarnations could not reveal their identities. Yi Tian was just an exception. Because she had no experience, Yi Tian, who originally just wanted to play around, gave her a soul mark. From now on, you will be my person, the messenger of the reincarnation clan in this world. Quote. Yi Tian said lightly, Reincarnation God clan, are you a god? Are you from the god realm? Black Widow woke up instantly. There was nothing she could do. Yi Tian's information was too amazing. The last time Thor came, there was a big disturbance. The gods of Asgard have become the synonyms of trouble for them. God realm. Asgard is also worthy of being called God realm. Except for Odin and Hela, no one can fight. Quote. Yi Tian sneered. Odin, the king of gods, who is Hela? Black Widow asked curiously, but she believed in Yi Tian's identity as a god in her heart, because only gods can understand gods so well, and know more about the secrets of gods. Don't ask, you are not from this country, you have always been doing things for your own beliefs. S.H.I.E.L.D. just gave you a place to stay, and I can provide you with a better platform. Quote. Yi Tian's voice was full of divine meaning, which directly touched the heart of Black Widow. Although Black Widow knew that he had used some spiritual means, his words really touched her heart. Okay, my god, I admit that you were right. It can be said that Yi Tian is the one who truly understands her. That is inevitable. Yi Tian knows her experience. Even if she has been saved, her essence is still the wandering hero with an extremely strong heart, absolute self-belief, but no real belonging. This is also the reason why neither S.H.I.E.L.D. nor the Avengers kept her. When the Avengers split, she followed the side she thought was right without hesitation. Besides, I am not discussing with you, Yi Tian said solemnly. What a domineering god, it seems that I have no choice. Quote. Black Widow smiled bitterly. It seemed that she was on a pirate ship. However, for some indescribable reasons, she had a hunch that it would be better to follow Yi Tian. That's it, huh? Yi Tian smiled faintly, but suddenly frowned and said, here they come. Those people have also started to act. They are too confident. Who is coming? Black Widow asked. Loki. Loki, Thor's brother. Black Widow was shocked. The last time Thor made a big noise on Earth, it was because of the coup d'état that Loki had caused in Asgard. Although Thor won in the end, the people of S.H.I.E.L.D. did not think Loki was easy to deal with. The fight has already started. Let's go over and talk about it. Yi Tian was too lazy to explain. He hugged Black Widow, activated Flying Thor, and escaped into the void. Wait, I haven't changed my clothes yet, Black Widow complained. But when she appeared in the S.H.I.E.L.D. underground base, she found herself in a white void. Outside the void was the scene of the base, but the people in the base could not see her at all. Is this the power of the gods? Black Widow saw Yi Tian's power again, which was completely different from Thor in the intelligence. In comparison, she felt that Thor was more like a monster with brute force. And Yi Tian's power of doing whatever he wants and controlling some things is the power that a true god should have. Now you have plenty of time to change clothes, and you can even eat melon seeds and watch the show. Yi Tian teased. You are so bad. Black Widow gave Yi Tian a reproachful look, and then began to change into the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent equipment. She wanted to participate in the battle. Because she still has some feelings for S.H.I.E.L.D. And the current battle situation is very unfavorable to S.H.I.E.L.D. The opponent is not only Loki, but also a group of mysterious mutants. Broken Dow 31 Red Fire Cannon. Thunder Escape Earth Walk. Take my flaming fist. Boom boom boom. A team of reincarnationists launched a siege operation against Loki, who had descended on the Earth, fiercely bombing the entire underground base. On the ground, Director Ludin was affected and fainted, pretending to be dead. But Loki was completely fine. Behind Loki stood Hawkeye, the ace agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and several people from S.H.I.E.L.D., all of whom were controlled by him with the Mind Stone. But Loki did not let them participate in the battle, but played with the reincarnationists with interest. No, 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 your attacks will never work on God. Loki used illusion to avoid the attack of the reincarnationists calmly, and said leisurely, stupid human, I am a god, and your great king actually committed a crime of treason. After a pause, he said, but for the sake of your interesting abilities, submit to me and be my slaves. I can pardon your death sentence. Obviously, Loki took a fancy to this team of reincarnationists who looked like mutants. But these reincarnations didn't realize it yet, and they stared at Loki as if they were looking at treasure. He's not strong, he just knows a little trick. Kill him. As long as you kill him, you can end the war early. Maybe you can complete the hidden mission and get a super god evaluation. Go. The reincarnations didn't take Loki too seriously, because they found out from the battle just now that Loki's strength was not strong, he just knew some tricks. In the void, Yi Tian shook his head and cursed, what a bunch of idiots, giving people away to buy. Why do you say that? These people are very strong. I'm not sure I can beat any of them alone. The Black Widow didn't understand why Yi Tian underestimated those mysterious strong men. Yi Tian heard this and thought to himself, the movie version of Marvel is really confusing. Loki does not look strong, but the Wanji login system gives him an S++ rating. A normal 5++ strength would have killed these reincarnations in seconds, but Loki could not kill them cleanly. This situation is quite similar to the fact that Captain America is evenly matched with everyone. How should I put it? Loki may not look strong, but he is also a godlike existence to them. Their attacks can't cause any harm to Loki. As long as Loki touches them, they are finished. After thinking about it, Yi Tian could only explain it this way. The movie version of superheroes and villains have been weakened, and Loki has also been weakened ridiculously. The scene in the movie where the Hulk grabbed his feet and smashed him around has become a famous scene. However, after the Hulk smashed Loki like that, Did Loki spit out a mouthful of blood, or even did Loki's body have any damage at all? That's the Hulk. In Marvel superheroes, the more angry the monster is, the stronger the power is. This did not cause any real substantial damage to Loki, which shows how strong Loki's physique is. Yi Tian estimated that this might be the reason why Loki was rated S++ too high resistance. The strength of these reincarnations, 6C level and 2B level, is only at the level of 2 Konoha's Jonin teams. They can't hurt Loki at all, and it's only a matter of time before they are wiped out. And soon, Yi Tian's words came true. Ah, save me. Loki seized the gap in the battle, dodged the attack with illusion, pierced the heart of a B-level reincarnation with the scepter of mind, and then dodged the subsequent attacks in a chic manner. Give him a recovery potion. The other B-level Samsara looked very unhappy. He asked his teammates to rescue his companion, and then opened the eye patch of his left eye to Loki, and shouted with some Chunabu, "Look at my evil king's true eye." It's called the evil king's true eye, but it's actually the 3 Magatama Sharingan. Illusion. You actually played an illusion with me. Loki smiled, mockingly, and easily bounced back the opponent's illusion, and then used the Mind Scepter to point at the heart of the Chunabu Samsara. The Chunabu Samsara's eyes turned blue, and it was obvious that he was controlled by Loki. Loki smiled slightly and said, "Subdue them for me." "Yes, master." The Chunabu Samsara used the Sharingan on the other Samsara. "Oh no, what are you going to do?" "Captain, don't, The whole process took only 2 or 3 minutes, and the Samsara team was completely wiped out and all became Loki's puppets. Is this the god of Asgard? On the floor of the base, Director Fury, who was lying and pretending to be dead, said in disbelief. The strength of those mutants was already strong enough, but I didn't expect Loki to be able to wipe them out by himself and use them for his own benefit. Is this the power of God? Let's go. Loki asked his men to put away the cosmic cube and planned to leave the base. Master, he is pretending to be dead. Hawkeye and the people from S.H.I.E.L.D. did not notice Director Fury pretending to be dead, but the reincarnation with the Sharingan did. Kill him. Loki immediately gave the order, and his men opened fire at Director Fury. Bang, bang, bang. Director Fury didn't dare to pretend anymore. He turned over and fired a few shots and then ran away quickly towards the promotion channel. He ran very fast. The escape posture was obviously practiced and very professional. Clear the account. Director Lu Dan ran and cursed at these idiots. These guys who suddenly appeared were really a rip-off. Not only did they give him a head, but they also ruined his plan of pretending to be dead. Now, everyone is screwed. Dear, Fury is my friend. Seeing that her friend was about to be killed by Loki, Black Widow immediately looked at Yi Tian for help. Yi Tian stretched leisurely and said, "I have watched the show for so long, it is time for me to take action. Lightning escape earth walk. Go to hell, fire escape great fireball technique." The 2B level reincarnations cooperated tacitly, first using lightning escape to paralyze Director Lu Dan, making this guy who was faster than a monkey unable to move, and the other one finish the job. Unlike the superheroes and villains in Marvel movies, the reincarnations were so slow that they killed the enemy as soon as they attacked. Am I going to die here? Facing the huge fireball, Director Lu Dan had nowhere to hide. He didn't expect that today would be his death anniversary. If he had known, he would not have used the cosmic cube to research weapons. Water escape great waterfall technique. Bang! A huge waterfall erupted from the void, instantly sweeping across the entire underground base, instantly extinguishing the great fireball, and at the same time rushing Loki and others out. Ahem, am I saved? Director Lu Dan unexpectedly found that he was not submerged, as if there was a layer of space membrane, 400, protecting him. In the void, Yi Tian walked out holding his shoulders, and then Black Widow looked at Director Lu Dan and asked, "Are you okay, Fury?" "It's okay, I'm not going to die yet, Natasha, this is." Director Lu Dan was very surprised to see Black Widow so close to a man. People in S.H.I.E.L.D. always thought Black Widow was a lesbian. He is, what's his name? Natasha turned to look at Yi Tian and was a little embarrassed. She didn't know Yi Tian's name yet. Oh my god, she forgot that she didn't even know Yi Tian's name, and she was the more aggressive and proactive yesterday. "My name is Tiandi, from the universe of the gods." While speaking, Yi Tian burst out the divinity of Hades. At this moment, Natasha looked at him with a look of longing and fanatical faith. Director Lu Dan was pressed by this divinity and knelt on one knee, as if he had seen the real God on earth. Tiandi, how is it possible? Director Lu Dan couldn't believe that one day he would kneel down with a sincere heart. He was not so pious when he went to church to pray. Let alone mortals like Director Lu Dan, even superheroes like Hawkeye and extraordinary humans like the Reincarnation Squad were suppressed by Pluto's divinity and knelt down. Only Loki was not affected too much, but was extremely angry. Foreign species, which of the 9 realms are you from? Or a planet outside Asgard? How dare you pretend to be a god? At this moment, Loki almost roared in his heart, I am the god, the king of Asgard, the king of gods. You stupid mortals don't kneel to me, but kneel to this alien with unknown origin. I can't stand it. Loki actually thought I was an alien. Yi Tian didn't want to deal with Loki so early. The hidden tasks and main tasks of playing the role of a god take time, and Loki is also needed as his background board, otherwise he would not use the Great Waterfall technique just now, but the Shinra Tensei. But this arrogant Princess Loki, nickname of fans, seems to be unconvinced. She didn't run away after seeing the difference in strength, but stayed to provoke him. In that case, Loki, prove to me, what qualifications do you have to call yourself the king of gods? Yi Tian looked at Loki provocatively, still with the contemptuous attitude of a superior. Die. Loki rushed towards Yi Tian quickly with the scepter of the mind. Shinra Tensei. Yi Tian's samsara eye turned and directly blasted Loki dozens of meters away. Loki, who rolled dozens of times before stopping, looked horrified. Ahem. Gravity. Gravitation. Oh, it's okay, it's pretty resistant. Yi Tian smiled slightly. Although he was not serious just now, his strength was enough to seriously injure a level 5 reincarnation without special physique, but Loki Song was just a little embarrassed. Sure enough, although the gods in Marvel movies are a little weak, they are still very resistant. Most of their deaths are at the hands of strong people of the same level or higher. Humph, let's fight next time. Seeing that he was no match, Loki gritted his teeth and retreated with his subordinates, even without taking the cosmic magic. Hee. After Loki left, Yi Tian smiled mysteriously, deliberately walked to the front of the cosmic magic, and picked up the suitcase containing the cosmic magic. Go to hell. As expected, Loki's figure appeared again, and the mind scepter pierced his back. Be careful, Natasha shouted, trying to warn, but Loki's scepter seemed to pierce Yi Tian's body. Hee. Fighting is not just relying on force, but also requires brains. Loki smiled cunningly, thinking he had one. Really, but I don't think you have a brain. The pierced body of Yi Tian slowly disappeared, and Yi Tian appeared in front of Loki, with the pair of samsara eyes in his eyes transformed into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan mode. Illusion, how is it possible? Loki never expected that he was the one who was caught in the illusion. He is the god of trickery and is best at illusion. However, Yi Tian has the gift of samsara eyes, which can enhance illusions, and his own spiritual power is stronger than Loki. Loki thought too much about Yi Tian. Have you thought about how to bear my anger? Yi Tian smiled slightly. No, my friend, everything can be discussed. At most, we can each take half of the earth. Loki begged for mercy, but Yi Tian was not ready to let him go. Shinra Tensei. The terrifying repulsive force burst out directly from Yi Tian's palm, blasting Loki away. Tianyan Wanxiang. Then another hand burst out with terrifying gravity, pulling Loki back. Even though Loki was strong, he was still vomited by this combo. Come again. Seeing that the effect was average, Yi Tian continued to attack. Shinra Tensei, Wanxiang Tianyan, Shinra Tensei, Wanxiang Tianyan, Shinra Tensei, Wanxiang Tianyan. No, don't, beautiful fall. Loki was almost going crazy from the torture. Yi Tian controlled his strength very well. He couldn't kill him, but he could always hurt his stomach severely, and he really vomited yellow bile. After Yi Tian finished teaching him a lesson, Loki couldn't stand up anymore. He lay quietly on the broken alloy floor, doubting his life. Seeing the state, Yi Tian said with a bored face, is this the god of Asgard? Why does he feel so weak? Natasha's mouth twitched. This scene really impressed her. The physique of gods can't be generalized. Some gods can let other gods hang him up and beat him when they are extremely angry. On the side, Director Lu Dan silently covered his face. It was a pity that his shield could not even defeat such a weak god. However, the two of them no longer doubted Yi Tian's identity as a god. Because there was a god as a background. Ding. Hidden mission god descends to Earth. Completion rate, 10%. Current mission evaluation, C. Yi Tian listened to the prompt sound in his ears and thought to himself, sure enough, Princess Loki is a very good background, which increased his mission progress by 10% at once. Thank him very much. Shield, airborne aircraft carrier. Because Director Lu Dan had pressed the base's self-destruct button before, Yi Tian took Black Widow, Director Lu Dan, Loki and others back to SHIELD headquarters after dealing with Loki. Afterwards, Director Lu Dan seemed to be afraid of being plotted against by Loki's escaped subordinates, so he chose to imprison Loki in the air prison. After imprisoning Loki, Director Lu Dan asked respectfully, Your Majesty, you said you were from the god realm. Otherwise, do gods have to lie to ants? In the VIP room, Yi Tian said indifferently that if you want to play the role of a god, you can't be too polite to humans, otherwise you will lose your dignity. Director Lu Dan on the opposite side was silent. Although this sounded very annoying, Director Lu Dan just couldn't get angry. Anyway, he thought it was natural. First, he was grateful to Yi Tian for saving him, and second, it was divine suppression. Every word Yi Tian said was like the will of God, so humans could not question it. He was completely different from Loki, the charlatan. If Loki said to his face that humans were ants, he would have slapped him in the face, although he couldn't beat him. Then, Your Majesty, why did you all come to Earth? Director Lu Dan thought about it, and didn't bother about Yi Tian's attitude towards humans, but asked directly about the purpose. Yi Tian and Loki came to Earth. Is there something on Earth that attracted them, or is it because of the cosmic cube? If I tell you my purpose, you may not believe it. Yi Tian deliberately kept it a secret. If Your Majesty doesn't tell us, how can we know whether we should believe it or not? Director Lu Dan thought Yi Tian was shirking or plotting. Dear, just tell me. I will believe you anyway. Natasha cares about Yi Tian's purpose. She is afraid that Yi Tian has some intentions towards the Earth. It will be difficult for her to deal with it. If it is against SHIELD, it can be accepted. After all, SHIELD is not a good organization strictly speaking. She is not a good person either. It is difficult to have absolute good and evil in this world. Since you want to know so much, I will tell you directly. Yi Tian seemed to say it for Natasha's sake. Soon, Natasha, Director Lu Dan, and Loki, who was trapped in a special cage over there, all pricked up their ears. I come from the God Realm universe. Before answering your questions, do you know what the God Realm universe is? Yi Tian said as if he was recalling. Ah, the God Realm universe is not the universe of the universe. Is it a universe, not a place like the God Realm? As the head of SHIELD, Director Lu Dan has a good grasp of basic knowledge. For the hypothesis of parallel universes and multiverses, he is still very clear. Yi Tian silently gave a thumbs up to Director Lu Dan in his heart. Now that they knew this concept, the next task would be easy to fool. No, it's impossible. Even if there is a parallel universe in this world, it is just a reflection of our world. There is no God Realm in our universe, and your universe cannot have one either, unless the God Realm you are talking about is another Asgard. Loki suddenly retorted fiercely. In his opinion, Yi Tian is at most from a parallel universe, not a brand new universe. The two concepts are different. Although it is incredible to travel between parallel universes, it is not impossible. He felt that traveling between the two universes was too incredible. Even his father Odin, whom he loved and hated, could not do it. A frog in the well does not know the size of the circle. Yi Tian snorted coldly, too lazy to explain to Loki, or rather, he disdained to explain. Loki was speechless, but he did not dare to provoke Yi Tian too much. After all, the shadow Yi Tian cast on him was a bit big. When my plan succeeds, my army will arrive, and you won't be so nervous. Loki smiled foolishly in his heart. He didn't know that his men were able to escape because of Yi Tian's indulgence, otherwise they would have been wiped out in the underground base of SHIELD. Even those bases didn't explode, but Yi Tian deliberately let them explode so that the people controlled by Loki's mind could escape. And the mind scepter that Loki had confiscated had been planted with the flying thunder god mark by Etn, and he would take it away directly when the mission was completed. Everything was calculated by Etn, and Loki was just daydreaming. Your Majesty, don't worry about Loki, just continue talking. Director Lu Dan glared at Loki fiercely, and then said to Etn respectfully. They are both gods, but the difference in attitude is too big. Loki looked at Director Lu Dan and felt so angry. Double standard, this Lu Dan is too double standard. At this time, Etn also got back to the point. The God Realm universe, as the name suggests, the entire universe is the God Realm, and the creatures born are all gods and demons. They are born with powerful power and have the authority of the Creator. They can create life races, such as creating new humans. Quote. Etn said, half true and half false. It was almost a copy of the setting of the God's universe, but it was a little exaggerated. The power of the Creator. Creating humans. Oh, my God. Director Loki, Natasha and the surrounding agents almost simultaneously expressed shock. Of course, Loki's voice was somewhat skeptical. Because this kind of power is equivalent to God, the God of creation, and Pangu. And if what Etn said is true, this is not just one God, but the God of the entire universe. Oh my God. At this moment, let alone the people of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Loki, even a certain God King who had discovered Loki's abnormality and was silently peeping at the screen, and a certain wizard who was guarding the earth were all shocked. It felt like a subversion of the worldview. Ding. Hidden task progress plus 20%, current progress, 30%, evaluation, A. The prompt sounded again. Etn smiled in his heart. 30% is an A-level evaluation. It seems that we have to work harder and keep moving forward. Don't stop. Honey, is everything you said true? At this time, Natasha asked as if she had turned into a wingman. Etn was waiting for others to question or ask. Don't believe it. Then tell me, what race do you like? Etn said lightly. Honey, what do you mean, could it be? As Natasha said this, she suddenly thought of something and her breathing became heavy. Could it be that her man was making a baby in front of her? Performing here, that's not good. Natasha joked with a sly look in her eyes. Etn, is this considered driving the car into his face? Even the Creator dares to tease, Natasha is worthy of it. Ahem. Director Lu Dan interrupted the atmosphere between Natasha and Etn. He really didn't want to eat this dog food, and the speed was a bit fast. Your Majesty, are you really the Creator? At this time, Hill, a beautiful S.H.I.E.L.D. agent standing by, asked respectfully. You like cute and simple creatures. Etn glanced at Hill lightly, used the Mangekyo Sharingan to pull her into the spiritual world, and obtained this information. Then he took out a slime from the void. So cute. Quote. Instantly, beautiful Agent Hill and Natasha were surprised by the cute slime and held it in their palms. The slime also acted coquettishly in their hands, just like a newborn baby lying in the arms of its mother. Slime. It's so easy to identify, but are all slimes so cute? There really are such creatures. Director Lu Dan and several male agents beside him, such as Coulson, were stunned. Of course, they were familiar with magical creatures such as slimes. They recognized them at a glance, and it was obviously a real life. This. Loki was also stunned at this moment, and was shocked in his heart. He even doubted whether he had become a false god. Are there slimes in Asgard? Director Lu Dan turned his head and glanced at Loki, then immediately retracted his gaze. Forget it, I know it from your weird expression. Then why are you asking? Loki complained in his heart. What other creatures do you want to create? Etn smiled slightly. Dear, can you create humans? Natasha couldn't help asking at this time. Yes, even resurrecting the dead is no problem. Etn nodded, and gathered a reincarnation force in his palm, making the people around him think that life and death are all under Etn's control. And this answer was even more shocking. Director Lu Dan and the others took a deep breath and almost knelt down in excitement. God, they may have met the real God. Really, Natasha said in surprise. My man is God, I feel a little proud when I think about it. Of course, but I won't resurrect the humans in your universe at will. Etn said lightly. Why is that? Natasha couldn't help asking curiously. The creator has the creator's rules. Resurrecting the dead for no reason is a disrespect for the rules of your universe. Yi Tian said with a rare solemn expression. Our creator. Yi Tian's words gave everyone present another heavy information. They actually have creations, and God actually exists. Loki's mind was a little confused. In his cognition, myths were born because of Asgardians like them, or creatures from other planets. There really is a God. Then they are really false gods. I turned out to be a false god. I only found out after living for so many years. Loki is not stupid. He also thinks that Yi Tian may have some concealment and conspiracy, but it is precisely because he is not stupid that Yi Tian's creation ability and the power he showed make him believe in the existence of the creator. There is really a God in our world, why have we never seen him? There are so many wars in this world. If he were there, I think the world would be peaceful. Quote, has God really abandoned us? At this time, the worldview of the SHIELD agents collapsed a little. Under Yi Tian's guidance, they did not doubt the truth or falsehood of Yi Tian's words, but questioned why God didn't care about them. Dear, no wonder you are called the Emperor of Heaven. You can't be the God of the Orientals. Natasha thought of something at this time and said in shock. And Director Lu Dan and others also looked at Yi Tian in astonishment. At this moment, they really suspected that Yi Tian was the leader of the Oriental mythology and the Emperor of Heaven who ruled the three realms. Hee. Yi Tian smiled without comment, thinking that Natasha and others thought too much and their thoughts were a bit serious. However, heaven, this world has heaven and hell, and it is really unknown whether a heaven will emerge one day. Even if there is no heaven, it is not impossible for him to create a heaven, such as using the SS-level Reincarnation Legion card, but the mission is urgent now, so he will make plans next time he enters Marvel. Your Majesty, is there really a creator in our world? Why have we never seen him? Whiteouter descendants. At this time, Director Lu Dan was more respectful to Yi Tian, and at the same time, he was eager to ask about the whereabouts of God. If their creator is there, then why are they afraid of Asgard? Of course there is a creator in your world. Your world has heaven and hell, demons, angels, and ghost riders related to heaven and hell. They are walking in the world. You actually question whether the creator exists. I admire you very much. Yi Tian talked about the secrets of the Marvel Universe like a treasure. It made Director Lu Dan and his friends even more uneasy. It turns out that their world has hell, heaven, demons and angels, and even the special existence of Ghost Rider in the world, but they know nothing about it. We don't understand this world at all. Dear, what kind of existence is our creator? Where did he go? Quote. Natasha couldn't help it at this time. She really wanted to know the whereabouts of God. Yi Tian smiled slightly. No wonder they cared so much. For them, it was like a child wanting to know who his biological father was. Excuse me, the universe of the God realm is much wider than you think. If he doesn't show up, I can't confirm his identity. And you don't have to be too surprised. In fact, in our God realm, your God may be a girl, or even a high school student. Yi Tian said lightly. Girl, high school student. The picture changed, and Natasha and Director Lu Dan became even more uneasy. Something's wrong. This is very wrong. Their father may be their mother, and they may just be a high school student in the God realm. Incredible. It's hard to believe, but it may be true, because I am just an ordinary high school student in the God realm universe. Quote. Yi Tian broke the news again, and this time it really subverted their worldview. An ordinary high school student, created things with a thought, resurrected from the dead, had unfathomable power, and easily killed the ugly son of Odin, the Lord of the Nine Realms. Is this called ordinary? They also want to be so ordinary. Dear, you are modest. Natasha felt that Yi Tian must be modest, but there was one thing she believed, that is, in the universe of the Creator, doing such a thing might not be a big deal. Yes, Your Majesty, your character really makes me ashamed. Quote. Director Lu Dan also felt that Yi Tian was being modest, and at the same time he believed in what Yi Tian said. Perhaps this ability was nothing to the Creator. But in their mortal world, that was God, the only God. They couldn't look down on Yi Tian because of this. Anyway, they would value him more. Because that was a great existence at the same level as their Creator, and only their Creator was qualified to speak to Yi Tian on an equal footing. As for whether Yi Tian was lying, To be honest, Director Lu Dan and the others definitely had a little doubt in their hearts, but their intuition told them that this was true, but they were a little unwilling to believe it and couldn't accept this fact. Because Yi Tian had no need to lie. It was fun to lie to them, what benefits could be gained, and what was worth Yi Tian's plan. They really couldn't think of it. And, Yi Tian's ability is the closest to the gods in mythology, and he is almost omnipotent. On the contrary, false gods like Loki, are fake in comparison. It is precisely because of the example of false gods like Loki that Tu Tian seems particularly real. In fact, whether you believe it or not is not the most important thing, the important thing is those big guys. Yi Tian thought to himself that Director Lu Dan and his men at most represent the forces of the earth, and if the mission wants to reach the SSS level, the information must spread to the scope of the universe, which is the big deal. However, with what he said before, whether you believe it or not, those big guys who secretly peeked at the screen probably can't sit still. Odin, the Lord of the Nine Realms, and Ancient One, the Supreme Mage of the Earth. The strength and identity of Yi Tian and the others are crucial. As long as these two people believe what he said, even if they only believe 90%, this mission will be at least SS level. Odin should not show up in person. It is difficult to guess what Master Ancient One thinks. Let's stop here today. Yi Tian said so much, but they didn't show up. It seems that the boss is still very patient. Of course, it may also be that the current occasion is not appropriate. Dear, you are still a high school student, so you are not very young. Natasha suddenly thought of a question. As for me, I'm not even 18 yet. I'm considered a toddler in the god realm. Yi Tian said leisurely. Natasha, suddenly I felt guilty. I thought Yi Tian was the creator, and his age should be at least 10 million, but I didn't expect it to be only E. What is she? An old woman in her teens fell in love with a 17-year-old creator. Impossible, the strength of the gods is related to age, how can you be so strong? Quote. At this time, Loki was a little restless again, mainly because Yi Tian was too young. He was beaten up at the age of 17. Even if he was a god of the creator universe, it was too exaggerated. Loki originally thought that Yi Tian was older than his father Odin. I am indeed the strongest among the new generation of God realm, but it does not matter that I am just a high school student. If I were an old monster, do you think I would talk nonsense with you? Yi Tian smiled faintly. Loki wanted to refute, but he could not find any reason to refute. It turns out that Deer is a genius creator, but he is so powerful at the age of 17. How powerful must the God realm universe be? Natasha came back to her senses and thought about it carefully. His Majesty the Emperor of Heaven is so young, so his identity must be very noble. Quote. Director Lu Dan asked respectfully again. In fact, he was also trying to test the situation. Yi Tian was so strong, it was impossible for him to be ordinary. He must be a very noble existence in the God realm universe. Even though he was young, he might be the prince of the God realm. You know too much about the situation in the God realm universe, which is not good. Not every creator likes humans. Some creators like to create creatures like demons. Quote. After Yi Tian finished speaking, he stood up and ended the conversation. Before pulling Natasha away, he left a sentence in the void. I came to this world just for the assessment. Your universe has encountered variables, and the 9 realms are not immune. Lu Dan, you'd better contact your old friend. Lu Dan. Director Lu Dan pulled the corner of his mouth hard. This nickname. Poochie. The SHIELD agents didn't want to laugh, but they couldn't help it. I'm really sorry. Why do I feel that his last sentence is not the same as what we said? Quote. Agent Hill murmured, and it must be said that women's intuition is very accurate. It would be better if you didn't say it, but now that you put it this way, it's true. Agent Coulson thought about it and found that Yi Tian's status was so noble, but he could actually talk to them in a friendly manner. It was not reasonable, especially since Yi Tian treated them as ants at the beginning. Even if it was because of Natasha, there were too many secrets revealed, enough to shock the entire universe. He is not talking to us, but telling the strong in this universe that he is here. Director Lu Dan's thoughts were confused, but he did guess most of it. Asgard. At this moment, Odin sat on the throne, but his expression lost its former kindness and became extremely solemn and depressed. Creator, I also defeated heaven and the Queen of Heaven in the past, but I have never seen the Father. I thought it was just an equal to me, but today it seems BCCH. I am afraid that the Father is not as simple as I thought. Quote, in the Marvel Universe, God has always been a mystery, no wonder Odin doesn't know either. In fact, Yi Tian is not sure either. After all, he agrees that OAAA is God. OAAA is indeed a godlike existence in the Marvel Universe. Even the Father of Heaven is at most the creator of heaven. The creator of the universe is obviously not the Father of Heaven. Of course, there are also sayings that the Father of Heaven is a thought of OAAA, or an innate God born from it. In short, the God of this universe is indeed not something Odin can figure out and guess. Thor, go and bring Loki back. Quote, after pondering for a while, Odin decided to let Thor bring Loki back and execute the original plan. Although there were variables, it was just right for Thor to test the opponent's strength. If necessary, he would take action again. Although he did not want to conflict with the Creator, although the Creator was still very young and not as strong as when he was young, he still felt a great threat to him. He had a vague feeling and instinctively sensed the danger of Yi Tian. The Himalayas, the holy land of magic Kamar Taj. The expression of the Ancient One was more complicated than Odin's at this moment. Because she had the Time Stone, she saw more than Odin. It was precisely because of this that she was less afraid of and believed in the existence of Twoshan than Odin. Creator, the past, present and future are not what I can covet. The Ancient One could not see through Yi Tian at all. She was able to obtain information because she peeked into the future of Director Lu Dan and others. As for Yi Tian, she could not see through it at all. Even when she looked at Yi Tian, she felt a sense of threat of death. There is an indescribable force staring at her. If she steps in, she will die without a burial place. It's so terrible. Even because of looking at him, I can't see my future clearly. The Ancient One sighed with some fear. And that lucky girl, her future is also beginning to blur. Thinking of Natasha, the Ancient One was even more amazed, because she was just touched by Yi Tian's light, and her future was beyond the prying of the Time Stone. Originally, the Black Widow sacrificed herself to obtain the Soul Stone, but now her fate of death has changed. The direction of the future is no longer in our hands. This is the Creator. The Ancient One felt that he should do something. What? The big boss Loki was captured 2 days ago. In the New City Hotel, Princess Qian received intelligence from her reincarnations and was a little shocked. The Chitauri hadn't come to Earth yet, and their boss was captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. Aren't S.H.I.E.L.D. full of rubbish? They all rely on Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. Due to the intelligence, Princess Qian didn't think S.H.I.E.L.D. had such power. The intelligence that Quicksand gave them also said that those superheroes defeated the Chitauri, which had nothing to do with the rubbish in S.H.I.E.L.D. now. Superheroes like Hawkeye and Captain America are actually exaggerated. Reincarnations can easily catch a lot of them. However, the luck of reincarnations in Marvel copies is particularly bad. Hawkeye and others can be fine no matter how they go, but they will die if they are careless. It gave Princess Qian, an old S-level reincarnation, a headache, and even doubted whether it was the rules of the world. If the rules of the world are helping Hawkeye and those rubbish, S.H.I.E.L.D. might really catch Loki. Princess Qian murmured, Captain, what should we do now? We have to fight the Legion War. The black-robed swordsman and other reincarnations on the side all looked unwilling. For this Legion leader, their Chi-Shao Legion paid a great price, just for revenge. About half a year ago, they were tricked by the Legion they didn't deal with, and suffered heavy losses. Although the Legion War every 6 months is coming, they can't help but plan to get back a blood debt first. Fight, we must fight. If the mission is terminated, the main mission will also be changed. See if the main mission has changed. Princess Qian snorted. Yes, the main line has not changed, which means that the Chitauri Legion will definitely arrive as scheduled. The black-robed swordsman and his companions suddenly understood. Was Loki captured by His Excellency the Emperor of Heaven? Princess Qian said. Yes, I heard that His Excellency the Emperor of Heaven appeared as a god, and it has now been classified as the top secret of S.H.I.E.L.D., but how did you know it, Captain? The black-robed swordsman was surprised. Who else could it be except him? As a god, isn't he a newcomer? It seems that he has only carried out the mission twice. If he is a fake god, it is not easy to deceive Loki and S.H.I.E.L.D. Now he has reached the level of gods and demons. Hiss. Princess Chien took a breath, thought of the terrifying possibility, and decided to adjust the plan. At the same time, outside the universe, the reincarnations of the Chitauri also moved. They also learned the information on the Earth from the reincarnations who came in later. Loki was captured. How is that possible? That rubbish won't affect our plan, will it? He was captured by a new guy named Tiandi. I heard that he is doing very well on Earth now. The top brass of S.H.I.E.L.D. and even the world worship his statue. To show off their power in front of people, are they idiots? They can do it with some superpowers. It's not that simple. If it's just a simple show of power in front of people, mutants can do it, but we don't need to say more about how mutants are treated in Marvel movie copy number 03. There are not many mutants in this world, and there are no terrifying existences like Magneto and Professor X. It seems that Tiandi is really capable. I just hope he doesn't do stupid things and ruin our plan. No matter the legion behind us or the boss we rely on, they are not comparable to him, a small newcomer. Quote. The reincarnationists who joined the alien forces are also ready to make a move, planning something, and are not afraid of the reincarnationists and the Emperor of Heaven on Earth. However, when they come to Earth, I don't know if they can be as confident as they are now. New City, Tucker Building. Since he dealt with Loki 2 days ago, Yi Tian came here and found a good place to stay. As for Tony Stark, after Yi Tian promised to resurrect his parents, the Iron Man transferred half of the shares of Stark Group to Yi Tian. The Samsara Eye has the ability to bring the dead back to life, which is the art of reincarnation. But the price is that it will consume some of Yi Tian's lifespan. As a demigod, Yi Tian can live for 3,000 to 5,000 years without any problem. After becoming a god, he doesn't need to worry about the lifespan. However, Yi Tian still didn't resurrect his parents immediately, because Tony's parents' ashes were scattered, and the resurrection conditions were higher, and mainly because Tony's price was not enough. And why Tony was so sure that Yi Tian could resurrect his parents was because of a sentence when they met. You said you are the creator and can resurrect my parents, haha, what a joke. Shinra Tensai. Puff. I didn't expect. Today would be my death anniversary, Reincarnation. Didn't I die? Before I died, I heard Jarvis say that my life characteristics were completely gone. It was just such a simple and violent operation. Tony completely believed in Yi Tian's ability, and at the same time he was in awe of him and respected him to the extreme. Although Tony was very arrogant, it was because he was too talented and could look down on everything, but he had to bow his head when he met the Creator. Although he was afraid of death, he knew that he would die sooner or later, and he had the consciousness of being a hero. But if you offend Yi Tian, you will not be able to rest in peace even after death. After death, he can still be resurrected and you can kill him again. This is bad. Who is rude to him? It was also because Yi Tian did not hide his promise to Tony from Natasha. Natasha knew that S.H.I.E.L.D. knew about it, and Yi Tian acquiesced to it, and even welcomed it. S.H.I.E.L.D. knew about it, and the top leaders of this country also knew about it, and immediately became Yi Tian's licking dogs. And other countries are not vegetarians either. In the past 2 days, under Yi Tian's intentional or unintentional miracles, the top leaders of the world knew about Yi Tian's existence. Although it was shocking, it was the fact. The mission completion rate has reached a high percentage. Yi Tian stood on the top of the window of the Stark building, overlooking the world, and smiled as if everything was under control. There were no problems on the Earth. The only thing missing was the last Asgard and the cosmic forces. He took the SSS level evaluation. Dear, Fury and others want to see you, saying that a distinguished guest from Asgard has come to Earth. The void twisted, and Natasha used Yi Tian's equipment branded with the Flying Thunder God mark to return to Yi Tian and tell director Lu Dan the purpose. Thor. Yi Tian smiled slightly. When did that reckless man become so polite? But it's just in time. Calculating the date, Loki's counterattack should start soon. Let's go directly to the air carrier. Yi Tian took Natasha to teleport to the air carrier of S.H.I.E.L.D., and as soon as they landed, they found something unexpected. Tony quarreled with Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and director Lu Dan. We study weapons for peace. Director Lu Dan argued. I have never seen any weapons bring peace. Tony sneered. What you are doing is equivalent to declaring war on the universe and telling the strong in the universe to destroy you. Thor said. It's because of you, Asgard, that we study weapons. Director Lu Dan said angrily. What does it have to do with us? It's just that you humans are greedy and selfish. Thor became even more angry. What did you do on Earth before? You destroyed a town so easily. With such power, if you have ill intentions towards us, how can Earth resist you? Director Lu Dan said righteously, but Thor felt that he was judging others by his own standards. But Tony and Captain America were more or less hesitant, but they didn't speak for Director Lu Dan in anger, and they laughed at each other. Tony's father respected and admired Captain America's character when he was alive, and praised Captain America thousands of times, which made Tony, who lacked fatherly love, somewhat rebellious. That's enough. You don't know you've been affected by the Mind Stone. Yi Tian grabbed the Mind Scepter in his hand, and then released the power of the Mind Scepter. What's going on? Captain America, Tony and others looked at each other, and then came to their senses. We almost didn't fight just now. Director Lu Dan said thankfully. It's Loki, his conspiracy. Quote. Thor was angry and was about to ask Loki for questioning. Don't forget the purpose of your coming here, Wu Shi. Suddenly, the voice of his father, the god King Odin, rang in Thor's mind, and his figure paused. Oh, Odin. Because he held the Mind Scepter, Yi Tian easily understood Thor's thoughts. As for where Odin was hiding, he didn't know. Although Odin's life was about to end, his strength was still not to be underestimated. You must know that if Odin didn't die, Thanos would not dare to come to the Earth. Even the Ancient One had seen the future of the Earth before he died, so he gave the Time Stone to Doctor Strange with peace of mind. Why didn't Doctor Strange see Thanos coming at the beginning? It was because his ability was no match for the Ancient One. But Odin didn't want to confront me head-on. Quote. Yi Tian smiled slightly. In fact, he is not afraid of Odin, because although Odin, Thor, and Loki in Marvel are not orthodox gods, they are also judged as gods and demons in the reincarnation space because of the blessing of faith. As long as they are gods and demons judged by the reincarnation space, the heavens chain is useful. The heavens chain from the mythological world can work on strong people below the God King, that is, it is effective for gods and demons below the Great Emperor. If it is Odin in the comic version of Marvel, I don't know if the heavens chain will work, but Odin in the movie version has not reached the God King in the reincarnation space grade. The Ancient One is not a god or demon, so the chain is useless to him. Of course, Yi Tian uses some special means to force her to add divinity, then it can be used. Father, I know. After Thor communicated with Odin in his heart for a while, he said to Yi Tian with respect, You are the god who defeated my brother Loki and claimed to be the creator. Quote. Yi Tian shook his head and said, It's not self-proclaimed, but heavy reality. Quote. Do you know what you are saying? If what you said is true, all the strong men in the universe will come to you. Thor said solemnly. So what? Yi Tian said. In order not to bring disaster to the Earth and the 9 realms, I need to confirm it. Sorry, Thor said, and clenched his right hand towards the void. Bang! Mjolnir flew towards Thor, and he held it in his palm, emitting terrifying lightning. Wait a minute, Captain America was anxious. If they fought here, the warship would explode. Who knows how many people would die and how many innocent people would be affected. Let's go out and fight. After that, Thor smashed through the iron door with Thor's hammer and flew out. Why bother? Yi Tian escaped into the void and appeared in the sky. Sir, today's battle is inevitable. Thor said solemnly. No, I mean if you want to fight, then fight. If you can't teleport, I can take you. Why destroy other people's spaceships? Do you really think that Director Lu Dan has no objection? Yi Tian said with a smile. Quote. Thor Director Lu Dan shouted in his heart that understanding is long live. Yes, you really think that repairing warships doesn't cost money. After so many years, people finally understand his difficulties. Take my Thor's hammer. Thor didn't want to talk nonsense anymore. He directly held Thor's hammer and blasted it with a thunder beam. Condense. Yi Tian used the power of the law of space with his left hand to freeze Thor's hammer in midair. How is it possible? Thor was shocked. He had never expected that his invincible Thor's hammer would be held by someone with one hand. But at this moment, Yi Tian was also a little surprised. This power is wrong. Even a level 5 reincarnation can't compare to it. Yi Tian finally determined the characteristics of the movie version of the Marvel copy. Superheroes become stronger when they meet strong ones and weaker when they meet weak ones. No wonder the movie version of Thor was reborn to kill Thanos. In order to build the axe, his body endured the pressure of a whole star, but it was very difficult to fight against soldiers. Of course, this characteristic has an upper limit. Whether it is Odin and the Ancient One, or Thanos and Captain Marvel, the 50-50 attribute of becoming stronger when facing strong ones will be greatly discounted. If you can't beat them, you can't beat them. At most, you can only stalemate for a while. No wonder the Marvel dungeon is one of the dungeons that has lost the most reincarnationists. This unreasonable characteristic can easily make the reincarnationists relax their vigilance. The strength of Hawkeye and Captain America, who can be born with a strengthening potion, is at most D level in the reincarnation space. Yi Tian sighed. F level is not much different from ordinary people. Level 1 is a warrior who has just started training, a genin in Naruto, etc. D level is a transcendent who has achieved some success, equivalent to the level of Chunin in Naruto. C level can be a small cadre in some small legions of reincarnationists, especially between Jonin and Jonin, or a Chunin with special abilities. B level is the start of elite Jonin, or the kind with blood limit. A level is probably the shadow level in ninjas. Strong shadows can fight against weak S level lives, such as the 3rd generation Raikage and the 4th generation Hokage can fight against the tailed beasts alone, and weak shadows may be assassinated by B level. Level 5, the minimum is the city destroying level, and there are also different levels, S, S+, S++, S+++. The tailed beasts are the kind of creatures with S-, which have destructive power but often lose to level 5. The representative combat power of level 5 Naruto is Hashirama Senju and Uchiha Madara. The starting point of demigods is S+, such as 6 Paths Madara, demigod 9 stars 5++, and the peak is demigod great perfection S+++. There is definitely a gap between the same level of strength 5.3. The demigods in the universe of gods have divine domains, which are very uncertain, but they are definitely stronger than Hashirama Senju. As for Thor, his lower limit is about B level, and his upper limit in front of Yi Tian is almost close to 5+. With such a span of strength, the reincarnations who underestimate Marvel superheroes will die very strongly. Because they don't have the buff of stronger when facing strong, weaker when facing weak. Interesting, but the gap between you and me cannot be made up by a layer of buff. Yi Tian smiled slightly, and the void behind him rippled, and a golden chain pierced out from the void. What's going on? The moment Thor was locked by the golden chain, he felt the threat of his natural enemy and even wanted to loosen Thor's hammer to dodge, but the heaven's chain was not something he could dodge whenever he wanted. It locked Thor in midair and tied him up. Ah, how could this happen? Thor tried to struggle, but he couldn't use any strength at all and was completely defeated.